Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this episode 192, a one-niner two of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and to play. I am one of your four hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge, the jury, and the executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novosel.
Did I hear a niner in there?
That's calling from a walkie-talkie, sorry.
Yeah.
On his left and my right, the tarnished beast of the East who can make you laugh in 3 words or less or your money back, Ronnie Johantis.
Hi.
Hi. And last but certainly not least, he's the final member of the GMG Quadfecta who's got music in his heart, Hyrule on his brain, and La Carreta in his old estomago, Marc Touche Boucher.
And a voice that I can actually speak with. I have returned.
Yeah. Congrats. You are back from the land of, I don't know, people that don't, from the land of horses.
Yeah.
You had that hoarse voice last week. You sounded like you were like, "Hey guys, I can't make it next week, so I gotta stay at home."
You gotta quit smoking, man.
Yep, lay off them smokes. But you know, I might as well jump to it because obviously we have a guest, and obviously if you're not watching on YouTube, it's not obvious. But anywho. In our midst tonight, we have a driven man of many podcasts who loves to make car noises and has been coined by some as Mr. Canadian Handsome himself. And unbeknownst to him, I don't think I said that right. Unbeknownst?
There you go. Second.
I don't know why. Words. Unbeknownst to him, he makes the best hoagie in my hometown, the one and only Sean Capri.
That last part did confuse me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Good. What I was going for.
I don't know what hogie I'm making, but
that last little bit, that was an added touch. We have a pizza place called Capri.
Ah, there it is. Yes,
and dude,
yes.
Every time I visit the U.S., that's like an automatic first.
I love that there's no way he would know that.
That's
like,
exactly
there's not
right.
a single way he would know that.
You know, to be fair, there are a number of Capri restaurants like pizza and steak and all these other things. This is somewhere like in the back of my mind that was hiding back there.
You knew.
Yeah.
You knew.
How was
you
that,
see it every once in a while.
How was that sandwich at the Frothy Monkey that was named after you? Did you actually end
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it. Yeah, it's actually thanks. You have a good memory. I totally forgot that I even ordered that. But yeah, it seemed like a requirement. Yeah, to order
was
that
it
one.
actually named after you?
Yeah.
Like a baby?
Yeah, it was a Capri. Yeah. No. What? Like a baby?
No. Yeah, like people name babies after other people.
I think it's like a sandwich, though. That's what
it was a sandwich.
They named the sandwich after you, like you would name a baby after.
Probably a coincidence. Well, it's what is today? Today is May 9th. And Lucas, I actually wanted to celebrate something very special with you. Today is National Sleepover Day.
Oh,
and so I just thought that was very fitting. So, you know, this is our little, like, we're all just like giggling into the night and our parents telling us to shut up eventually. So
a little digital sleepover. I love it.
Popping chips, everybody. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, since we're doing a sleepover, you can't do a sleepover without having some like chatting about life.
That's right.
So we're going to talk about what's new news in our lives. And we're going to start with you there, Mr. Capri, because there may be a person or two who don't know who you are. So we'd like to give you the chance to kind of introduce yourself, to share about where you're from, what you do, all that jazz. On our end, we, of course, will share that you have a mutual connection with us through Married to the Games, probably our favorite podcast, one of our favoritists podcasts. And so with that, I want to lead off with a question that we ask all of our guests. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Yes. My dad, his name is Vincent, and he's retired now, but I don't know if I need to get too much more into
I'm so glad that your dad is alive.
Yes.
Call back to episode, 80-something, 90-something?
Yeah.
Yeah, something around there.
Dad is still around, but yeah, that's a risky. You keep going back to that, huh?
He really
might as well.
He really does.
You think
I'm not scared.
What did you say? I'm not scared.
I'm not scared. I'll go with
okay.
it.
Well, keep that up. Yeah. Dad's around. I actually watched some hockey with him yesterday. Watched a hockey game with him last night. So as a good old Canadian boy does, there's playoffs right now, so it's a little obsessive at this point. But no, of course. Dad lives like 20 minutes away, but we don't really see him all that much, I guess, these days.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah.
Is it true that like everyone in Canada watches hockey? Is that a real thing?
I think it might be. Yeah. I think you can't even you don't even know why. You're not even making a conscious decision to do it. You're just kind of like, you're like asleep, and then you wake up, you're like, playoffs. And you reach for the controller and automatically. Exactly. It's like you're watching like the Food Network and they're like, hang on a second, we need to take a break to watch some highlights here. So it just invades, and it's a thing. Yeah. Can't help ourselves, man. Like during the pandemic, it was awful. We couldn't get together and like watch hockey. You can go to the arenas and everything. So, I mean, it's the same as everywhere else, but yeah, it's right. It's a stereotype that I think holds true for sure. Like if you put your sticks out, everybody has hockey sticks, of course. So if you put them out on your porch, it's kind of like a sign of respect. It's kind of like lowering the flag halfway. You kind of just like, it's often a thing. I'll have like sticks out for so-and-so. Like if somebody like passes away or something, like put your sticks out for that. It's a nice gesture, and you see it. It's
kind of awesome.
It is awesome. But it is amazing that like everybody has hockey sticks. Everybody has a couple hockey sticks they can do that with. Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty useful thing to have. I mean, it's not just you can show your respect. You can use it to grab something on a high shelf that you can't reach. You can
scare away elk.
Smack your kids with it if they get out of line.
That's a common problem to have.
Elk is an issue. That's a real thing I learned as I was out at a national park, and so, I don't know what they are. A group of elk, like a murder of elk, I think were approaching, and apparently, the
Crows,
park staff, they would hold hockey sticks above their head because they couldn't. Apparently, they think that that's how tall you are. I'm not sure. Like I don't know how they asked them. I'm not sure how they know what they're thinking, but apparently they hold hockey sticks over their heads and it makes you look bigger, and the elk get scared away. That's a thing. I think there's your Canadian tidbit for this week.
They do an exit poll when they go back to the forest. They're like, hey, so what were you scared? What scared you most about that guy?
It's multiple question.
He was tall. I got scared.
Apparently a group of elk is apparently called a gang. A
gang of elk. That's awesome.
Gang. That's way better. That's not near as intimidating as a murder of elk.
It's first step is the gang, and then the murder comes shortly afterwards.
I guess so.
They've all got switchblades, like gonna catch you.
It's like butterfly knives,
like leather jackets,
flipping them around.
Leather jacket.
Hey,
what are you doing?
Snapping, they're like
crazy.
Marc gets it.
All right, Sean. So give us a lowdown. Enough about elk, your dad.
Yeah.
And hockey sticks. What do you do? What do you like to do by day, by night? Tell us a little bit about yourselves, my friend.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, apparently I like to just make podcasts kind of like nonstop. And I think we all have Married to the Games to blame for that, where you just kind of fall into it. And before you know it, you're doing more and more, and you're bringing more people in, you're meeting all like the best people from around the world. And that's been an addicting journey for me as well. Probably since like 2015, I've been making podcasts. And it has started with a little show called We the Gamercast, where I get to have sweet hangs with strangers from the internet. And that's kind of been just every week I either get to meet somebody new or catch up with an old friend and chat for, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours or something like that. And through all that, we've started a bunch of other podcasts because I've met such awesome people around the world. And it's all kind of captured under the Carpool Gaming banner now, with the Nintendo Drive, the Xbox Drive, and the PlayStation Drive, among many, many other shows. But it's, I don't know. It's weird to talk about my own stuff, to be honest with you. I feel like I never really know exactly what to say, because I just, somebody reached out to me last week and they said, how do you do so many shows? And I'm like, it's just part of the calendar, honestly. Like, it's just a time shows up. It'll be 7:00 in the morning tomorrow where I do the Nintendo Drive. And it's just, I don't know. It's just part of the routine at this point. So what I think is the hardest part about it is actually trying to like play enough games to make the shows interesting.
Yeah.
At this point, everything else kind of is fine, but it's just trying to keep it up with all the other stuff is actually way harder than the podcasts themselves.
Right. So many games. There's so many games. So how do you keep up with it?
I think now I'm just gonna I'm just gonna probably just play Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think at this point, like I'm just gonna give up on trying to keep up with stuff, because that's actually like in my heart of hearts, I just want to play Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think at this point, there's too many games, there's too many things to keep up with. And I bought about half of them. They came out in February, and I've played 0% of those. So I kind of just that's probably the biggest challenge of it all, to be honest with you, is
sounds about
too many
right.
games.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of new games out and playing a game from 2015.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll just jump into it for an hour or something and go like, that's I don't need to finish this, but it's calling me at this point.
It's a good game. I enjoyed that game.
So what have you been playing lately for the little bit you get to play?
Well, I just finished Life is Strange, not a new game, but new to Game Pass. Life is Strange True Colors. And this is a series that, because it's so heavy, usually I think you kind of know what you're signing up for when you start a game like Life is Strange. It's not like there's so much action and I'm going to be wowed by the gameplay or anything like that. You're in it for the story. You're probably going to cry. So to me, it's kind of like a weird thing to go, I can't wait for that game to come out and I'm going to play it on day one. Like that never has felt right for me, just because of how heavy it is and all that kind of stuff. So I usually wait for it to maybe an opening to come up, or I just kind of actually feel like playing it rather than playing it just because the game came out.
Yeah.
Right. And this approach with this series has worked out for me on this one, and also with Tell Me Why. And I just wrapped it up. We do an awesome thing in the community. Actually, I can't even claim responsibility for this. There's two people in our community who started a video game book club. They call it the Backtrackers. And so every time they pick a new game, they tell the community, this is what we're playing. And we're meeting on Saturday, whatever, at 11 a.m. And then we just chat about that game. And it's awesome. And I was able to participate in the first one with Life is Strange. And we just had like a full on spoiler filled conversation. We didn't actually like make content out of it, which was probably even like the most refreshing part about the whole thing. Was we just played the game to chat about it with friends. And honestly, I don't remember the last time I did that. I think it might be more than 5 or 6 years where I just like played a game that I didn't record a podcast about or anything. I just chatted about it with a bunch of friends. So of course I really enjoyed the game, and I wept on my couch and uncontrollably. And apparently that means that it was a good experience for me. It's such a weird evaluation on these games. Like I cried uncontrollably. 10 out of 10.
Put that on
game
the
of the
box.
year.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I'm not saying it is 10 out of 10, but it is those are the types of things that you hear when people talk about these games.
Right.
It's so emotional, and oh my gosh, I cried. I loved it. And it's like, it's weird. It's just not the same as like when you play Castlevania or Doom or something like that. It's a completely different conversation, which we've just evolved to now with video games over the last couple of years. But yeah, it was a special game. I really, for how simple these things are, and they seem to be kind of like the next evolution of Telltale games, I would say in a way, like because those aren't really here anymore, but I actually rather these ones. I like the Life is Strange. Cool. I still find myself surprised, even though they are formulaic. There's going to be, they're episodic in nature, even though you get all these, you get 5 episodes, you get them all at once. And at the end of every episode, something catastrophic is going to happen or something massive is going to happen. You kind of know that's coming. It's going to be almost like a cliffhanger to get you playing the next one. So all that stuff is there. And yet I still found myself like I was totally hooked and really happy that I had a chance to hang out with some friends and in a spoiler filled way. Again, like when, I don't know, for you guys, like, do you guys do a huge amount of spoiler casts, like outside of like just doing this show? You ever get together and just talk like full spoilers? It's very liberating.
We do actually.
We do.
Yeah, it's the best. I don't get to do it enough, because I think the other thing too is just playing the same game as a bunch of other people apparently takes coordination.
Yeah,
it does. It does.
Especially if you're not playing the latest and greatest game. Right. Yeah.
We've learned that we've had to do that quite a bit with our own video game book club that we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's the best.
Yep. And we're like, we need to get on playing that game and get it done within a certain amount of time.
Yes, deadlines.
Yep. And so we're like, let's get on that. And
thankfully there's enough of us that some people can be slackers and then others can keep on the ball. And then the next month switch off.
Oh,
and,
totally. Yeah.
And be like, okay, it's your turn to stay on the ball, and then the other people can just kind
That's
of
pretty
hang
much
out.
my favorite part, except it's never my turn.
Yeah, we're
Ronnie,
doing bug
represent.
snacks next, and I'm like, I don't know if I need to. Well, apparently the ending of bug snacks is something to behold. I haven't played it yet,
Interesting.
but I'm hearing like, hold on to your butts for the finale of bug snacks.
Bug
Yeah.
snacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I played through that. I think it was free for PlayStation 5 when it first came out, or maybe it was on
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
That
was.
game ramped up to what I didn't even think was possible
I
in a
love
bug
it.
snacks game.
Yeah, so I think that probably is next up if I don't actually jump
Nice.
over to Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just transitioned this month to Celeste and
Ooh.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So
Oh,
we
dude,
gotta,
that just came out on the library. Actually, I got to pick that one up as well. As if I have time to play all these games,
Yeah.
I'm going to the library and just like holding some of these games. Just so there's a bunch of them waiting for me. I can pull up a list here, but yeah, that's one of them. And Celeste is excellent. Oh my gosh, I would totally
Yeah.
replay that game.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's a
nice.
it's a good one so far. I've been keeping up with that one and playing a chapter here and there, and it's a really
pretty
good
tough.
one. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So cool, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed True Colors. I haven't played it yet. I played Life is Strange 2 with the brothers, and I really enjoyed that one. And that one was a heart-wrenching one at the end because all your decisions add up to an ending that you can't exactly choose how it's going to work out. And so mine was a pretty good ending from what I remember. But when I watched like all the other endings you could have, it was like, ooh, that's heavy. And
yeah, that was probably the most fun part about the kind of spoilery conversation we got to have was, oh, I totally smashed this piece of glass in somebody's face, and somebody else said, well, I like slept with that person. Like all these different kind of interactions. The endings are definitely one part, but I think the different interactions throughout the game,
the branch offs and
super cool.
Comparing everybody's notes and stuff. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, man. Well, that's cool. Let's keep going around the room, find out what other people have been up to, what's new with them. Continuing with Ronnie, what's up with you, my friend?
All right, straight up first here.
Yep.
So I really don't have a whole lot. I did not play a lot of video games this past week. I think I went back to my go-to Broforce like a few times.
Broforce.
Every time my buddies come
Nice.
over, like we always have to get in like some co-op Broforce in. Like it's just gospel here now. So
Yeah.
we have to do that. The one thing that did happen for me this week, it was our Elizabeth and I's 3-year anniversary. So we went out to a nice dinner.
Congrats.
And that was great. But yeah, on the video game front, I'm the fire's burning very, very slightly for Elden Ring. I'm almost done as far as playing all together. I made it to the final area, and that game, once you put in so many hours, like eventually it just kind of dies down, and that's what's
I forget.
happening.
Did you do it like a new game plus? Because you already became the Elden Lord. Now you're
so
becoming like the Elden Overlord or Elden
Super Lord.
Master.
So
Super Lord.
as a Souls game would do, like Elden Ring, after you beat the storyline of the game, there's 2 more areas in the game, which has even harder bosses. So they're not technically like, I mean, I guess they're kind of in the storyline, but like once you become the Elden Lord, it has the whole scene where you're on the throne with your character and stuff, which is awesome. But there's a boss that I haven't even gotten like halfway down. Like it's the last boss in the game. Eric and I played, and it's going to take a lot of grinding to be able to beat this guy. And I don't know that I'm up for it anymore. Like, for those of you that have played Elden Ring, you know how much grinding it takes just to get through any boss, it seems like. But yeah, it's just kind of dwindling a little bit. So I think I'm probably, I don't really care if I beat the last boss is what I should say.
Yeah.
And if I know me, that means I'm not going to do it. But yeah, so that I think Broforce is really about the only thing I played this week. We had the anniversary dinner.
Where'd you go eat?
We went to Cooper's Hawk, actually.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Cooper's Hawk. I'm sure Pat probably is. I don't know if they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
we have a Cooper's Rock in West Virginia.
It could be a cousin,
It's a mountain. It's not a restaurant.
Oh, okay. That'd be cool if it was like a restaurant built into the mountain.
That would be cool. Too cool for us. West Virginia.
But on a little bit of a sadder note, I did find out I think on Saturday that my childhood football coach had passed away.
Oh, man.
So
Sorry
tomorrow
to hear
night
that.
we have a I guess like a visitation celebration of life. The language always gets really weird around funeral time. So you never really know, but it's going to be cool to see a lot of the people that I haven't seen in a long time. A lot of guys I haven't seen since high school. And, I think he was my coach almost all of my Pee Wee football years. So his son I graduated with, and, we were the same age, went up through school and everything. So, it was really sad, but I have a lot of, really awesome childhood memories, from him. And, it was great. It was really I was glad to have, cross paths with him and all that stuff. I remember one thing we were joking about, a couple of us that, were close on the sidelines when we were little kids playing football. He would, we were, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, maybe, or something like that. And he would just yell Jeezel as loud as he could. And it was a real high pitched Jeezel, like all the time. Like when he would be, that was his thing that he said when he's mad. So we would always joke that they were the Jeezels. Like we just like that was their last name. So yeah, a lot of good memories. And I'm sure tomorrow, once we go and talk, it'll be nice to share a lot of those with everybody. But
for sure,
it is one of those things. It was, hard. It was really early. I think he was 57. So,
oh man,
wow.
definitely too soon. But, next week I'll talk a little bit about it. And, it'll be really nice to see everybody, even under the circumstances. But, we'll go tomorrow and pay our respects, and should be good.
Yeah.
But that is all I have.
All right.
I'm thinking Marc, maybe
Marc.
Marc.
Cheer us up, Marc.
Cheers, Marc.
So I was sick for a good week and a half. That's not really cheering anybody up.
But you're better.
You sounded like a Sith Lord last week.
You sound
good.
like a robot.
Do it.
Yeah. So was it like a week from Friday, something like that? Like it was.
Yep.
Something like that.
It was that.
It was that.
Exactly.
Yes. That night I started like feeling like I was like, something's coming on. I'm getting sick. And then the next day I started getting like all the drainage and congestion and all that kind of stuff. And then that quickly turned into fever, aches, chills, going down the list, all that fun stuff. And so I was basically down for the count. Was not COVID, because I knew it probably wasn't, just because if you've been listening to the show, I had COVID recently. So probably not it. But because of that, I was pretty sick for the bulk of the week. Thankfully the chills and fever and all that kind of stuff finally went away. And that turned into bronchitis. And ain't nobody got time for that. So,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nope.
So yeah, I sounded like I was like eating sandpaper for the entirety of the week. And
how do you know what that sounds like? Like if you just had like a sandpaper salad?
Educated guess, really.
Honestly, after hearing him, it's a pretty good description.
Yeah. Is it eating sandpaper? All right.
Did you have to, Marc, were you still able to like take calls, just like struggle through them? Because I know you guys like take calls and stuff for work.
Yeah, about that. So for several days, basically, I came in for like a few hours and went as far as I could go
until it ran out.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, people can't even hear what I'm saying anymore because it just sounds so quiet and airy sounding. So, I would try to go as long as I could, and then I was like, Pat, I can't. And so yeah, last week was weird. It was just really weird because like the bulk of the week I was just not there and I was on the couch, and which really was a bummer because at work basically we've had like the most calls we've ever had, and so great time for me to disappear. But yeah, I basically had to go as much as I could and then just try to rest. And then I ended up going to the doctor and ended up getting antibiotics and all that kind of stuff. which was kind of the final push that I needed for me to actually get better fully. So thankfully I was good. I was very concerned because both of my jobs require my voice, well, plus my hobbies too. So couldn't be on the show, couldn't lead rehearsals for church last week, couldn't for the most part be on on calls and things like that. But thankfully by the weekend I was feeling a lot better and was able to lead worship at church yesterday. So, but nice. In the time that I was down, I was doing a lot of gaming for a particular game. I played through the entirety of Batman Arkham Knight. Which is our GMG VGBC, our book club game for the month of April, and so I was able to complete that.
So you got all the Riddler trophies?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
that's a heaping piping hot plate of no.
It's the game for April.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Just checking my.
He's in a different time zone.
This is what
okay.
This is what we're talking about when I say, "Oh, hey, we need to get the game done," and it was like the last week of April.
Yeah.
Sweet. So on time, running on time.
Yeah.
Just like a train.
None of us beat it in April. None of us.
Cool. So I still have time to swing in on this one, is what you're saying.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
You got it.
All right, that's a great game, man. I love that game.
Yeah, I got into that world and I was like, man, I miss this game.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, even for like a 2015 game for last gen. Like, everything.
And they just came out with someone modded the game, up-resed it to 60 frames per second, 4K, and ray tracing and all this stuff, and it looks amazing.
Yep.
I love playing a game like that, especially something when it landed. So much just crappy commentary around it, like I don't like the Batmobile and blah blah blah. Like the last one was better, and when you play it this far out from after the game came out, you get to actually enjoy it for what it is. And I hope that you guys are enjoying it on that perspective. I just feel like sometimes if you're stuck in the middle, like playing when everybody else is and they're whining and complaining about it, that can impact your experience. But yeah, playing games well afterwards is kind of a nice reprieve from that.
When Arkham Knight first came out, I mean, it had serious problems where you couldn't even play it on PC.
And
that was the commentary around it, where it was glitchy, crashes, couldn't even play it. And so like now, 7 years later, you're playing it with all the DLC, with all the patches, and it just runs so smooth.
You say that.
Oh no.
Here we go.
So obviously it did not deter me completing the game, because I beat the main storyline, and I did like a couple of the side missions. I had done most everything other than the Riddler trophies in the past, so I didn't feel compelled to 100% the game again. So I mainly just focused on the main storyline. But yes, there were a couple of times where like the game straight up locked up on me. Like it froze.
Really?
Yeah.
On what system?
This was on Xbox Series X.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I had it through Game Pass, I guess. Which I thought I had bought that game. Like, knowing me, I bought that game.
I'm sure you did.
And wasn't it a PS Plus collection thing?
That's probably,
it was.
Probably
it was, is, yeah.
And yeah, so several times, and it was mainly during Batmobile missions.
Oh wow!
It couldn't handle it for whatever reason. It just froze up on me. And it was annoying because it's like I then had to go back and complete that Batmobile mission again because it didn't save for whatever reason.
Oh goodness.
So on the pros, like, the game looks beautiful. I love the story, love the world, love the characters, all that kind of stuff. Me being the Batman fan that I am, I absolutely love jumping into this world, and Rocksteady did a fantastic job with this story. Yeah, I didn't mind the Batmobile missions as much as I did the first time around, but they do make you do it a lot. But I played this on like baby mode, so like really wasn't a big deal. I was like, just knock out these drones and it'll be no big deal. And it really wasn't that bad. But I do remember the first time playing, I'm like, man, these tank missions, like, why are they shoehorning this in here? But
there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I liked them.
So
I liked them.
I also liked them. I felt like Joey
Yeah.
and Friends, where it's just like, I like it. And
Yeah,
I just you
exactly.
play the mission, shoot the stuff, and I'm like, I thought it was well balanced, but I also haven't played it in like 3 or 4 years. So.
I'm also a contrarian too. So if I heard everybody else hates it, I'm like, well, I like it. Screw you guys.
No, but just coming into it this time around, it wasn't that big of a deal. Especially like I got more acquainted with all the special controls, like when you build up your meter and things like that to do these special attacks and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more fun.
Man,
and
what a game.
And the combat, man, just like you feel like you are freaking Batman. You like the way you're beating up enemies and doing all these different combos and stuff. Like that combo system is the combat system.
I remember
is
the fighting
fantastic.
being amazing in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
for
is.
sure.
It is fantastic.
It is good stuff.
But yeah, absolutely loved the story. I loved it because like there were, after not playing it for several years, there were several things about the game that I didn't remember. Like, oh man, I forgot that happened, and what's gonna happen? Like,
I thought you were totally going to say something like
No.
specifically that happened. Spoilers.
Nope, we're gonna save that for our spoiler cast that we're gonna do at some point, pretty soon, hopefully. But
Yeah, by June,
yeah,
for sure.
we'll nail
Yeah.
it.
For the April game. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. June
But,
spoiler guys, the April game. Yeah.
There's no rules.
But yeah, that was mainly the game that I focused on while I was sick. Skywalker Saga took a back seat. I did play a little bit of Fortnite, doing some zero build type stuff, and still having a lot of fun with that. But that's mainly what I did for gaming, and that and Madre's Day, Mother's Day. We went out with my wife's side of the family. Went to see them in North Carolina, especially after my wife's grandmother. She has been in a rehab facility for several weeks, trying to get her strength back up and everything. But she got out on Saturday and is back home now.
Nice.
So we got to spend time with her at her home. We actually ordered from Olive Garden, ordered out this time, which I am
Just
very
like Sonic.
Yes. Which I'm very thankful for because I absolutely hate trying to go to a restaurant on Mother's Day. It is,
Oh my gosh.
it is
Busiest
a
day of the
nightmare.
year.
Yeah, it's a nightmare and a half trying to get in.
Yeah, it
get in
is.
a seat. So
You're not the only one that went out and was just like, why did we leave the house
Yeah.
during one of the busiest weekends? Because we're idiots. That's why we went out.
Right.
We got bubble tea. That's what you guys know what bubble tea is?
I do.
You ever, yeah, we did that. So you just kind of like not a restaurant setting, but it's still kind of special. We went out for a thing, $6 drinks.
Best $6 drink ever.
Yeah, but no 45-minute wait. I'll tell you what.
The trade-ins. But yeah, that's been pretty much me just getting over the sickness and everything and getting back to life as usual.
Down with the sickness.
Dude, I didn't want to interrupt.
But yeah, that's been pretty much me. So, Pat.
Yeah. I was not sick. I wasn't sick.
Yay!
Everything's good.
Good
Everything's
job.
going over here.
Everything is great.
Fantastic. I played so many games this past week, but it's the same games I've been talking about for the past couple weeks. Man, still playing WWE 2K22.
8 different wrestling games.
Yes.
I'm still
Yeah,
loving the heck
2K20,
out of this game.
2K19, 2K20,
Oh my goodness.
2K22.
This game is so great. The community creations are just unbelievable. Loving the game. I jumped into a little bit more of Halo Infinite, and I'm like maybe halfway through now.
I see Master Chief behind you.
The open world in that game is unbelievable. Like unbelievable. If I was like, I don't want a Halo open world game. I didn't know that's what I wanted. Like I'm getting there. Like this is fantastic. So I've been playing a little bit through that. But I just started this game called Trek to Yomi on Game Pass. And I did not know this game was strictly in Japanese with English subtitles. This game is a black and white Ghost of Tsushima 2.5D side scroller. That's the way I can explain this.
Interesting.
And it is I've only played a chapter of it. I don't know how long the game is. Maybe you have 6 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
I may have played like 30, 45 minutes to an hour, and it's fun. It's very interesting. The presentation is unlike I've ever seen before. It has like a film, like an old like grain to it
Like
that you can turn
Kurosawa
on
type
and
stuff?
off if you want to. I'm not sure which one I like better, because if it's off, the look and presentation of it's very clean. But if you have that grain on, it has that old feel to it, old like Japanese, like black and white kind of martial arts samurai kind of feel to it. So yeah, I'm pretty much gonna start playing that game. I'll probably play that for the rest of the week and finish that off, because the first chapter is really, really fun. So I'll have more update on that.
Where are you playing that on?
I am playing that on Game Pass.
Okay.
It just recently came out on Game Pass. I think it might have been last week. It came out on Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah, because I know, like I was watching the other day, I saw Ed Placencia. He kind of rage quit that game, mainly because Xbox has been having some issues with their stuff.
I know. I felt like, why did he quit the game? He deleted the game, but it seemed like it was an Xbox Network problem, not the game itself.
Why did the game like glitch out on him or something? Why did he quit it?
Apparently, they've had some major issues with like their online service, and a lot of these games have online DRM, to where if you're not checking in online or whatever, it won't let you play. And so, yeah. So you didn't have any issue with that whatsoever?
Zero. I've only played like I said, the first chapter, so I didn't really get far into it. But I have had no problems. I've been playing Halo Infinite and Trek to Yomi, and I've had no issues with either one of those.
Okay.
So I was
just wondering because I'd seen people having issues with that, and I was like, well, maybe I should hang out and wait a little bit before I download that while Xbox is getting their life together. But
maybe that's totally. I would probably turn me off if the game wouldn't connect to it at all. So,
I love the term rage quit, by the way. Like that just every
Perfectly
time you think about
describes
it really does. Yeah.
But you can't rage quit anymore like you used to, because controllers are like $1,000 if you wanted to buy one.
That is
They're
correct.
so expensive. You can't break
Back
them
in the day,
anymore.
they had a cord. You couldn't throw them that far.
You
can do it if you're playing in bed. That was probably the last time I rage quit. I would just kind of slam the controller into the mattress, and it's pretty safe.
They make this bubble that like this blow up like raft that you can like put around your controller, so you can actually throw your controller, and it's encased in like a little bubble that you can throw against the wall, and it's fine. It's like
this damages everything else in the
If you
in the
have to
room.
buy
though.
that, like, if you have
Bouncing
to buy
around,
that,
God
dude.
knows where.
You have a serious problem if you need that.
Yeah.
It happens so often. You need like insurance around it.
No, I like to turn my controllers into decorative pieces when they get thrown into the wall.
Yeah, that was my controller for when I rage quit that game.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what I've been playing so far. Like you said, it was Mother's Day yesterday, so it was my wife's day. Let her hang back. Not do anything. I will take care of everything. We had church in the morning, and then we went over to my parents' house. We hung out over there, and right from my parents' house, we went to my son's soccer game. And we get to the soccer game, and get his soccer. And I was in charge of everything, making sure he had everything, making sure the chairs were there, making sure everything, So we get there, and he's putting on his shin guards. He's putting on his socks. He's got his jersey on. He's got a soccer ball. And then I get his shoes out, and I'm like, well, these are just shoes.
Yeah.
And I forgot the cleats were sitting at home. And so, and it was like 5 minutes to game from the game starting. And my wife looks at me. She's like, this is why I'm in charge of everything.
Oh, man. Not cool, man. Not cool. It happens to the best of us, and all ages, all kids. Everybody has been ready for game time with something. As soon as you were listing it off, I'm like, I know exactly where this is going. Like, is it the shorts that were missing or what? Something's missing. We've all been there, dude.
I was like, son of a gun, like when I grabbed his bag, I looked in and I was like, oh, there's shoes in there. Cool.
Yeah. You can feel them. Mm-hmm.
That those aren't the cleats in there. So, and we only live like 5 minutes away. So I ran to the van, got in, drove like 50 miles an hour down the street, went to
hit a cop
the house.
car.
I ran. Yeah, no.
Okay, good. Safe. Okay.
Cop car. No. I get into the house. I grab his cleats and I run back out. I'm driving down the road and I realize I grabbed one cleat.
Come on.
And a shoe that looked exactly like the cleat. And I was like, son of a gun. So I turn back around, go back, get the other cleat, go all the way back to the soccer field, run to the soccer field, and the game hasn't started yet. I was like, there's kids on the sideline. I'm like, what is happening? And I'm running up, and you're like, I started to like run and then all of a sudden jog and then start walking. I'm like, are they not playing? And so apparently both teams were waiting for players to get there. So I was early. They didn't start for another 10 minutes.
Hey, no harm, no foul.
Yeah,
there you go.
So it's
See?
no harm, no foul.
All part of the plan.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Except I was sweating. It was super hot on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sweat beating off my brow and all that.
Yeah, I know what that's like, guys. Holy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you look over at Mel after the game hadn't started and be like, I've got it under control?
Yeah. Well, I apparently did not at all. But yeah, so we did not go out to eat. She wanted some KFC. So I picked up some KFC. Perfect day for it. And didn't rain at all. It was great. It was fantastic. So yeah, it was good. Good Mother's Day. However, another thing I didn't have under control is I ordered her gift and it didn't come before Mother's Day. It didn't come until today. So
that's when you print off a picture and then you put that picture in a card and you say, "Here, there's a picture of your present. It's coming."
I owe you.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That seems like you didn't order it at all.
Or you give her a coupon, Patrick. You know what I mean? Wink, wink.
There's a coupon for
after hours.
Yeah. So yeah. It turned out to be a pretty good Mother's Day outside the gift. And yeah, that was about it for me.
All right.
Sweet deal.
Cool.
Lucas, I think you were last.
That leaves me. All right, let's jump right in, shall we? As is tradition, usually 50% of the time, I think Mother's Day usually falls either on the first weekend, I think it's always the first Sunday, right? Or is it always the second Sunday? No, it's always the second Sunday. So sometimes it's a single digit Sunday, sometimes it's double digit. So we got the double whammy this weekend because I got to celebrate 17 years of marriage with my beautiful wife, Mindy. Woo-hoo! So
congrats.
That was on Saturday. And then Mother's Day was on Sunday. So I was a busy man. My daughter got sick earlier in the week, so I got to hang out with her Thursday and Friday. We did a daddy-daughter date. I took her to Outback because the last time she was there, she was eating from the kids menu, and now she's 12 and she wants to eat like an adult. And let me tell you, she eats like an adult. She's like, give me more. She's just like, give me them ribs. At one point I was like, all right, which one do you like better, the ribs or the chicken wings? She's like, I like the ribs. I'm like, all right, well, get in there. We got that boomerang platter. I don't know that that's what it's called, but I've never ordered it. But I was like, you know what? We haven't gone out in a long time. So let's live it up. So we ordered the boomerang platter, and it has like 5 or 6 different dishes inside. It's like the appetizer sampler or whatever that you get at like Applebee's or and such. And it was pretty good. Then after that, we had, I know this sounds weird, but we got her first Starbucks. We haven't gone to Starbucks very much as a family, partially because in Brazilian money, a like Frappuccino cost around $20. So it's not exactly something you just want to, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, so that's about the same American price on
it. So you really like just are like, we can go get a $2 cone at McDonald's and it's about the same amount of ice cream and such. So let's do that. And so we've done that for years. And then she was just like, I want to try Starbucks. I'm like, you know what? We haven't gone out in a while. Let's do it. So I had almost like a yes yes day for my daughter, an unofficial one. Of course, all good things must come to an end, because when we went to the grocery store, I had kind of pointed out a place where she needed to grab some chips. And I said, I'm just going to go around the corner here and get something else. I went around the corner. It wasn't there. So I went back. She was not there. And for what felt like 30 minutes, and was probably just like, it was maybe 5 minutes, I could not find my daughter.
Oh my gosh.
And my stomach like just bottomed out, and I was just like panicking. At first I was like, okay, she's here somewhere. I'm going to find her. It's fine. And I start looking down aisles. I try to stay in, the general vicinity, because as you know, when people get lost or whatever, you don't stray away too far from the last time you saw them.
Right.
And I couldn't find her. And I looked over, there's a security guard lady, like probably 25 yards away from me. And right when I was going to go to her, I thought, wait, Natasha just a few weeks ago got her first cell phone after turning 12. Let me look at the cell phone. And I look on the cell phone and it says, Dad, where are you? So I'm like, okay, she wrote me on the cell phone. We're good. So I wrote her and I'm like, better yet, where are you? She's like, I'm in the freezer section. And the freezer section is at least a dozen aisles from where I am. And I'm like,
sprinted.
And I'm like, stay where you are. Don't move. I'm coming to you. So I walk up to her, and immediately, instead of saying, I'm so happy to find you, I'm like, what are you thinking? What possessed you to think I would be in the freezer section? She's like, I don't know. I just kept looking down aisles and I couldn't find you. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. This is my fault. I did not explain this to you. When you can't find me, you stop. You do not like go looking for me. I find you. You stay in the place where we last saw each other. Okay. So from now on, never do this again. And my first thought is, Mindy can never find out that this
She will never know.
Well, of course, I eventually did confess, but I waited like days after where it's like, let me tell you the funny story. So it was not a funny story.
She's here, by the way. She's right here.
Yeah, she's right here. I found her because she got a cell phone and we found each other. After that, though, I did celebrate my anniversary with my wife on Saturday. We went out to watch Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness.
Oh my gosh!
And let me tell you,
we did that.
Yeah, y'all did.
Yeah.
Well, not all y'all, but many of you did. But we are planning to do a spoiler cast in July, I think, for that. So keep your eyes peeled.
Just in time for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Is there like a varying amount of time it takes you guys to watch this same movie?
Ronnie likes to watch it and watch movies in 5-minute increments. So he'll watch it and then he'll go.
Randomness. Like it's just random when we do a spoiler cast and what we do it on.
I like it. I like it. No, this is great.
we try to
the official podcast that is.
We try to look out for the people that that have like multiple kids and multiple jobs and don't get a chance to go out, and they want a fresh take on it like 3 months later. So that's right. That's who we're shooting for. Is those
carve your niche, man. I like it.
That's right. So saw Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. We will touch on it later, but I will say that I enjoyed it despite the darkness. Oof, it was dark. It was
Sam Raimi film for sure.
It was very Sam Raimi, and I won't go any further into it. I'm just going to brush by it because prior to watching that movie and prior to taking my wife out to eat and enjoying all that, as Patrick already alluded to, this weekend is pure madness because of Mother's Day weekend and because of the release of a Marvel film. Like when we pulled into the mall,
no kidding,
there was a line of cars. Like literally this parking garage, like it snakes around everywhere, cars everywhere. And the parking garage guy just looks at me and is like, get ready for 20 to 30 minute wait. Because Mother's Day and Marvel have hit at the same time. You're in for it. And I'm like, thanks, man.
It's just a security guy warning everybody.
Within 5 minutes, I see a parking spot. And it's like, it's like blood in the water shark stuff where you're just like, this is mine. I get up to this thing. We don't have a minivan, but we have like it's a mini SUV, kind of like a SAV4. Is that a car? RAV4. It's in Portuguese. I'm going to say it's SAV4. It's not, but RAV4. So like a RAV4 where it's a little bigger than a normal car. And so this parking spot is perfect for a Ford Fiesta or a smart car. And I'm just like, I for a second, I'm like, I don't think we can fit. And Mindy's like, well, you think we're going to find another spot? And I'm like, you're right. So I have Mindy get out. And I have her keep an eye on the sides, pull in, and there's enough room for the car, and that is it. I cannot open the door. I had to fold in the mirrors. And I tap on the window, and I'm like, Mindy, open the trunk. And I just walk out the trunk. I climb out the trunk, and then that's it. And I was like, you know what?
Modern problems require
the car's not going anywhere. And the people on both sides of me, they had a gap where they could get in and out of their car. So I knew they weren't going to like slam their door into my car. They could get in the sides. I could get in the trunk. We were good to go. So I literally had to crawl out of my trunk and in my trunk when we got back. It was good fun.
Did she have room to get into her side though?
She did not.
So she had to trunk it up too.
No, I let her out before I pulled in, and then I pulled out and then let her in afterwards.
Gentleman.
I was a gentleman. Yeah, come on now. I opened the door for her, closed the door.
I was like, fail completely.
That's a classic.
That's right. I rolled out the carpet, everything. It was fun. On the gaming front, real quick, I'll just say I had slept on this game because I got a PS5 during Christmas, and I'd kind of played this game a little bit, and then was like, oh, this is a cute little game, and then moved on, played other games. And this past week, I was just like, you know what? It was during the day. Family was all kind of doing different things. So I was like, I'm gonna play Astro's Playroom. And if I didn't like just love this little game, I don't know how many of you guys have played it, but it is just a walk down PlayStation memory lane. The gameplay, the controller, haptic feedback, mechanics, everything about it is just really fun. And I enjoyed it. I give it like 8.5 out of 10 punches to Astrobot's little face. It was well, you know, when you're Astrobot, you punch all the other Astrobots in the game.
Your game is so good.
I love you so much. I'm just gonna hit you all day long. It was really fun. I think the only thing that I think it's missing, one, it's too short. Two, it needs multiplayer. Like I really want to play with, punch, join with my kids, and then we can punch each other's faces. We can punch other Astromech's face. It's just a part of life. It's part of the fun. But yeah, so
it's cartoon violence though, Sean. It's cartoon violence.
Well, just like it's a good game. I'm going to punch this little mascot in the face. I'm going to play with my family. We're going to punch each other in the face. And oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's right.
Lovingly, of course.
I guess I'm the crazy one. What am I saying? All
love. It's tough love over here. But yeah, so that game was really fun and probably maybe crept into my top 5 of the current next gen, whatever you want to call it. And funnily enough, that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's right, folks. Our topic is the top 5 with all of our dozens of honorable mentions for our favorite current gen games, aka next gen, which, well, how many years has it been? 2 years? You really shouldn't call it next gen.
Year and a half.
But people still call it next gen. So
like you.
Keep the record straight. I'm just repeating. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just repeating what I hear. So we're going to go around the room. You sounded like the count just now. I thought you were going to be like,
Can we please do the top 5 like that? Number 5.
You read my mind, Sean.
5
we're
video games.
That's really good.
Perfect. So that's what we're going to start with is number 5. So Sean Capri.
I didn't know I had to order them.
They don't have to be in a particular order.
Nope, they do. Okay. If you don't do it, then...
Well, sometimes off the top of our heads is best, right? If we don't...
That's right. Go with your heart.
If we overthink number 5. Well, now I have to think about what actually is number 1. Okay, well, we'll just see how this one turns out. This actually sounds good for number 5. This game, it's not even really a full game, so hopefully you guys don't beat me over the head. Just punch happy Lucas over there. This game came out right as the Series X was coming out, and is actually DLC or sort of an expansion to Gears 5, is called Gears Hive Busters. And it was sort of like a campaign version of the multiplayer mode called Escape, and got you introduced you to the characters involved in that mode and what the heck you're even doing. You kind of like use yourself as bait and then the horde kind of takes you into a bit of a base, and you kind of destroy them from the inside out. And it's a really fun multiplayer game. And we're all talking about Halo and all these other things. This is when I almost wanted to give a shout out just to remind people that this multiplayer mode exists in Gears 5, which is an excellent game. Yeah. And this DLC is awesome and very bite-sized as well. Like, it's not some of my other games here, we will spend dozens, if not hundreds of hours playing, but this one you can beat in maybe a dozen hours or so. Wow. But it looked great. It was one of the first kind of, games can look really good. And this is what an advancement that the teraflops from the Series X can give you.
Oh, yeah.
Gears 5, we were all looking for that, right? Like the most powerful console ever. What can they look like? Gears 5 is a pretty good looking game on its own. And then we had something new to play with Hive Busters. Nice. So yeah, my number 5 spot goes to Gears 5 Hive Busters.
Sweet. Boom. All right. Ronnie.
I'll make this easy. I don't have a number 5.
Oh, you can opt out.
I don't think I've played 5 video games since then.
Yes,
I've only played like the same ones repeatedly on the Switch. Like
you played last gen games like Ark and Enter the Gungeon.
In his defense, he just recently got a new gen console.
This is true.
No, we don't accept that. I could say the new
season of Rocket League because that's always good.
Okay. Or Patrick, do you want to fill in with one of your honorable mentions? I'm just kidding.
You guys always pick up the slack. What are you doing?
Let's go with the current season of Rocket League. I accept that. You like Rocket League?
I'll allow it.
Are you saying you like Rocket League? Or is that a question to me?
No, I was. Yeah, it's your number 5 pick is season 6. Is that what it is right now?
I don't know. I've actually just gotten back into it again. Like I'm
I know.
All right.
Yeah, why are you asking me?
All right. Mark, please save this garbage dumpster truck on fire. Number 5. What do you got?
I'm gonna come in with Psychonauts 2.
Oh yes,
nice.
I absolutely love that game, and not really having played the first Psychonauts, like thankfully it wasn't that much of a gap where like you were able to figure out what was going on. But I absolutely loved this game. I loved the mechanics of it. I loved the zaniness of it, like the Tim Burton-esque kind of nature to it, and the story and the gameplay mechanics. Absolutely loved this game. So yeah, my number 5 is Psychonauts 2.
Should I jump in to say that was an honorable mention for me, as I literally just ordered my top 5?
Of course.
Do you want me to leave that until later?
Of course. Okay. Don't listen to Mark. Don't listen to Mark. Throw it in there.
No,
you can
by all
edit
means.
this part out.
By all means.
He won't. No one's going to edit anything out.
I think for me, Psychonauts 2 is one that, when Xbox announced that they had acquired Double Fine, I was like, well, that's cool, but they'd never really done anything that really blew me away. There's a lot of legacy and history there. One of my favorite games of all time is Grim Fandango. I absolutely adore that game.
Yeah.
But
when's the last time you played that?
It's been probably on Vita. Actually, was
that's where I played it. Yeah. That's where I played it, and I remember I had to use a guide. I was like, "How did people figure this out back in the day? How did I figure any of this stuff out?" I'm pretty sure I abandoned those kinds of games when
playing
I was
on Vita.
Younger.
A shocking amount was still in my brain, which just goes to show that I need some sort of like defragment kind of function on my brain. Like I need to remove memory function or just reshuffle things around so I can learn new things, because there's too much memory occupied by puzzles in Grim Fandango, Ace Ventura and Wayne's World quotes from 1993, like things like that. I need to like make room for new things. This is why I can't remember.
No, Patrick will tell you. Patrick will tell you, never lose that. Never lose the Ace Ventura and Wayne's World quotes.
Oh man, that's just Austin Power, all the things, all those. Man, too many
for sure.
This game. So wasn't really stoked about Double Fine. I wasn't like against or anything, but I wasn't like, well, this isn't going to turn the tide on its own in terms of the fortune that Xbox had. But wouldn't you know it? I had no clue about Psychonauts 1. Apparently a lot of people played it, and it seemed to be kind of like a critical darling, a bit of a fan favorite and a cult following. But I thought it was weird, and I think it came to Game Pass of some sort, and I played it. And I was like, it's neat, but okay. But this Psychonauts 2 has such a wonderful cast of characters to it, and the writing is exactly what you would want from Tim Schafer and this team. And it really played quite well. I just really, really loved it. My expectations were nowhere near what it ended up being. So I'm really glad that you mentioned it, Mark.
Absolutely. Loved that game.
Nice. All right, Patrick, you're number 5.
My number 5 is It Takes Two. Now, this is a game that
fine choice.
I played through twice. Once with you, Lucas,
Yep.
and once with you, Mark.
Yep.
And so this game is so varied throughout the game. I mean, every single level is a different mechanic. And for every different mechanic, it is just a whole new way to play the game, which was really, really fun to do. The only thing is, I mean, the only drawback is the book, but the book was so bad that I felt it really brought a little bit of character to the game, because I mean, the story is just horrific. I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but man, the story was just like I don't know. It was just, you felt bad for all the characters. And
there's not a single character that's likable in this game.
It's really hard. The only
no redeemable characters.
Nobody. I don't think I've heard anybody explain it that way. I haven't played this game. Nobody is likable in this game.
No, I think the book is so bad he's good though. Like he's so cheesy. But the thing is, the gameplay is so excellent. It's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah,
it's an honorable mention for me.
Fantastic. You know, but like even with the unlikable characters, the writing, I mean, you're laughing almost through the entire thing. The dialogue between the husband and wife are so good. And the way they interact with all of the characters that are in the game. And it's really good. Except, you know, you don't care for the characters at all.
Has anybody seen?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Okay. Have any of you guys seen The Brave Little Toaster?
Yep.
No.
Yeah. So in The Brave Little Toaster, Sean, this is all about like a toaster, a lamp, a vacuum cleaner, like these different house appliances that are trying to escape or trying to find their master.
Yep.
And through their adventures, like they get caught in these very dangerous situations, and they run into other appliances that have like been maimed and been like killed in a way, like losing parts of their body. And it's really, when you watch it as a kid, it's kind of like
scary,
a little morbid.
Is this something from like back in the day, or is this something
this is from the 80s?
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Sid from Toy Story grew up and just kept, instead of damaging his toys, you just ripping apart all his appliances.
If Sid wrote a movie about suffering appliances and toys, this is what he would have written.
Okay.
I love how it's appliances.
Yeah, and it's so random. But the reason I mention that is because in this game, It Takes Two, there are moments where it's just like that movie. And it's like, oh my gosh, if this were like a human being, this would be M for mature. Like it gets crazy.
It's real
like,
dark.
And it's entertaining-ish. It's not like punch a Astrobot in the face entertaining. It's more of a, well, it's a good thing these are appliances, because if it was something else, I would not let my kids watch this. But it's a pretty crazy game. It's a very unique game for sure. Mm-hmm. All right. My number 5 is Horizon Forbidden West. This was a game that I was anticipating, probably second only to God of War Ragnarok. But then it kind of became a dark horse contender. I kind of was like meh about the game. This was our February, March game?
February game.
Yeah.
And I just finished it.
Yeah.
I think it started in February 18th when it released. And then it was, so I just finished it, Sean, just to fit with the rest of our, practices. I finished it here in May.
We've already done our spoiler cast. That's how.
Yeah.
That's how.
And but it finished strong. Like it got to the end and it got me. Like some of the story beats, some of the things that happened, the events, the gameplay, it all kind of clicked for me like in the last few missions. So it reached my top 5 because of it. So so that's my number 5. All right, Mark, you need to announce number 4.
My number 4 is
the Count Chocula style or whatever it is.
Four video games.
There you go. There we go.
Oh, Chocula. I think it was a different character.
Yeah, it's got
the Count.
The Count.
Sesame Street.
He could like chocolate. Maybe he's related to Count Chocula.
Four
the counts are
chocolate
related.
bars.
All right, Mark, what's your number 4?
So my number 4 is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Ooh,
nice.
This was the first, I think one of the first this gen game, like new gen games that's like, wow, this is next gen. Like just the way that the gameplay dynamics are set up, like with the rifts and everything, and just how seamless everything is. Now, granted, I have not finished this game yet, but it's still there. I absolutely love from what I've played of it. Everything just looks beautiful. The gameplay mechanics are fantastic. The story is hilarious from what I've played so far. Yeah, I'm excited to actually finish it because I am going to go back to it.
Nice.
But yeah, that definitely makes it to my number 4 because it is just fantastic. And
all right.
Good pick.
Yep. Ronnie, how about you?
So I have a question. So for everybody at home, I have a migraine headache tonight. So the computer is really killing me. You guys just want me to give the rest of mine?
Sure.
So that we can talk about them before I jump off of here?
4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Number 4.
Okay. So number 4 is going to be easy also because I don't have one. I put down Broforce just because I want to talk about it. It's still one of my favorite games. I still play it every week. Usually couch co-op is my favorite type of video gaming there is. I think hands down. I like playing online, but there's just nothing better than sitting with your buddies and playing a game on the couch and laughing and having a good time. So I did put that down. I really have not. I looked at 2021 and 2022. Out of all the games that are released, I've played pretty much 3 games exclusively. 2 of which I played for a really long time. So that would be the reason I don't. But number 3 is Halo Infinite.
There you go.
I did play a lot of that. I always played the Halo games growing up. I loved all of them, honestly. With Halo Infinite, I didn't beat the game. I think it's the first time I started a Halo game and didn't beat it. Only because it's a massive game. I mean, it is really big. The open world concept I thought was awesome, though. Pat, I know you've been playing through this now. My one complaint legitimately on the game is that there is just no ammo anywhere. Constantly switching guns. There's nothing. You can't keep any gun for any period of time. Do you guys just want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Number 2, I think Marc will approve. Pokemon Arceus.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
I've never really been crazy into Pokemon. I played the Game Boy games. I think probably all of us did back in the day. I was never really into the show or anything, but I do think the world of Pokemon is awesome. It's just a cool idea. All of it is really cool. So I played through and beat that game. A lot of hours in that one. It is, to catch all the Pokemon. You have to catch Arceus at the end. You have to catch every Pokemon, and some of them are only available at night, and it's a rare spawn. So you literally are just jumping there 100 times, hoping that it's going to be there to catch. And then sometimes you don't catch it, which is the most frustrating. That's when I could have used one of those bubble wraps for my controller.
Throw your whole Switch right out the window.
Yeah, if a rare one gets away, you're not getting there again in a while.
Frisbee toss.
Yeah. So that game was cool. The one thing I didn't care for, everything about the game other than the graphics, I loved. And the only reason I say that is because Pokemon is such a big brand that I just felt like they could have done so much more. From a graphic standpoint, I don't know, maybe just make it a little bit more real. It was the same, just felt like almost playing it on the Game Boy, really. The graphics really haven't updated at all. But the game itself was really awesome. The story and the open world exploring, that was really fun.
Yeah, none of those Pokemon games are really graphic heavy. They never really put any sort of emphasis on that. But that's that's Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't put a lot of emphasis on graphics.
I always imagine when I'm playing those that they're just you know what, you're gonna get these graphics and you're gonna like it. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're gonna play it anyways, so you're just gonna take it.
It's a warning at the start of the game. Just before you comment on the graphics, there's starving kids in Africa. All right.
Exactly. Exactly.
You'll be fine.
For this.
Get over yourself.
We're gonna give you these cartoon graphics that are from the 90s, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna play it anyways, and we know you are.
So harsh.
Don't pretend like you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I would read it probably and just be like, yeah, you're right about that, but I'm gonna complain about it.
It's fair. It's fair.
So yeah, that game was really fun. It was kind of felt good getting back into like a Pokemon game because it had been a while, you know.
Yeah.
Just kind of brings you back the whole childhood thing, and that was a really fun experience. And then lastly, my number one, you guys already know what it is.
Nope, no idea.
Is Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is the monster that is Elden Ring. Like, you want to talk about a game that will really make you want to throw your controller.
Sounds
or
awesome.
Just delete it off your system.
Throw your TV, throw your controller.
Honestly, like, you're just gonna burn your house to the ground as soon as you start playing this.
Just pick up your house and throw it.
I had no idea that this was going to be such a violent show. Like, I like Astrobot so much, I want to punch this. I want to punch babies and robots.
Whoa!
Usually
no
in the
one's
last
punching
segment, we
babies.
just fight each other.
I feel like that's where we're headed.
The line. That's the line, right?
That's
I don't
the
know.
line on the show.
Robot babies, maybe.
No, so Elden Ring, everybody's heard, everybody's seen the memes, the gifs about all of it.
It's all true.
It is all true. Everything
it.
about it is true. It is a Souls game where there's so many frustrating things, but I will say that it is one of the prettiest games that I've ever played. Like, that open world concept is beautiful. And this is the first game I got with my new Xbox. So I was able to play it with the much more high-powered one. But yeah, I need to look and see how many hours I have into it, but I don't want to. It's one of those things, like, I don't know if I want to know how many hours that I really put into it, because it's got to be a ton. I'm over 100% for sure of that. But no, I did technically beat the storyline, which made me feel really good. It's like, what if you put that many hours into something, like, you just have to beat it. Like, you don't have a choice.
For sure.
But yeah, Elden Ring. Man. Apparently, I like a really difficult video game.
I tell you what, this is a kind of game where I wish modding was available on consoles, because there are so many things that PC gamers do to mod games like this. One of the most recent ones I thought was really, really cool was they have a mod where you can be a Darth Vader if you're like a confessor class, and then you can have a lightsaber. Like, that's really, really, really cool. How they can just mod, and just, like, you can have Buzz Lightyear in there. You can have Doink the Clown. You can just, like, I don't know. I mean, the PC modders out there are crazy. I mean, there's some awesome ones. Resident Evil 3, and so instead of, like, this Barney coming at you, it's Barney, or it's the
I love you,
Thomas the Train, or something like that.
Absolutely not.
The most recent one I saw for Elden Ring was somebody recreated Rocky, like Rocky Balboa.
Yeah,
and it's just this shirtless guy with 2 boxing gloves, and he just goes in, and, like, the survivors playing in the background and everything. Yeah, they do some good stuff for that.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw the one where they modded in Frodo and Samwise, and they were like taking the ring to Mordor.
It does look like that. Like, the game looks exactly like.
Yeah,
like
it does. It
movies.
looks like you're running through Mordor. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But no, it is an extremely hard game. It's, when I was playing through this game, I realized, I don't know if without the internet, I don't know how it would have ever been possible for me to finish the game, ever. I don't know how somebody could get in and just figure stuff out in that game. Like, that part is amazing to me.
Right.
I think even if I had a game guide, like early 90s style, like, I still wouldn't have been able to get through it.
What about Game Genie? That would have helped.
I mean, maybe
Game Shark.
But yeah, this is one of those games where they just want you to they just want you to be upset. I think I talked to Eric. I played a lot of it with him on co-op through the storyline, and I was like, man, why would they do this? Like, I kept saying that, and he's like, dude, because the guy who created this game wasn't loved as a child.
He got punched in the face.
He is absolutely lashing out at everybody. Yeah, exactly. He's just lashing out at everybody playing this game. But yeah, Elden Ring, it was an awesome experience for sure.
There you go.
Nice.
You heard it here, folks.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks for your picks, Ronnie. I
appreciate it.
Hope you can alleviate that migraine, my friend. Take some drugs, get some sleep.
Yeah, I am sorry I have to leave
Feel
early. Sean, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to catch up. Took the words right out of my mouth, my friend. Feel better.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks. I'll see you later.
See you, buddy.
See you, Ronnie.
Bye. Hope you find your dad. All right. John, number 4.
Number 4. Oh, my goodness gracious. I want to almost do nope. I'm going to do what I said. Right. Number 4 is on the Nintendo Switch. Another game that kind of surprised me because I saw it revealed at E3. And I'm like, who gives a crap about this? This is not the holiday game that I want. And that game is Metroid Dread. Ooh. And turned out I was totally wrong. Some people don't like being wrong. I love being wrong about video games. Yes. I love saying like, nope, not interested, not going to play it. This was actually one of the things that started a bit of an unhealthy purchasing spree for Nintendo, where I'm like, every single thing. Actually, no, it was one game before this. It was Skyward Sword HD, where I'm like, that's not the Zelda game that I want. I bought it and then had a great time with that. Same thing happened here. Metroid Dread, not loving what I'm seeing here. I remember thinking the graphics looked a little soft, and presentation wise, just like, okay, well, I've been here before. And then I played it on my OLED, which I also said I wasn't going to be buying because I play primarily on TV. So who needs this OLED upgrade? But here I am. And damn it, like Metroid Dread is so good. It was really, and actually I want to go back to it now. It's got the boss rush mode. I was totally enthralled with this game. Probably the best thing that I can say is that I wasn't bouncing off to anything else when playing this game. I was just really stuck in it. I wanted to explore every single nook and cranny and cover and corner. This isn't on the next gen necessarily consoles, but it came around. I think this counts in terms of our timeline. But yeah, shout out to Metroid Dread on Nintendo Switch.
There you go. All right. It counts.
Nice. Count it.
Patrick, did you give it number 4?
I am, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Cheat a little bit here.
Here we go.
And because it came out at the exact same time, in the exact same combo, was Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, that's cheap shot.
Cheating.
Oh, I don't accept. You have to pick which one's 4.
Miles Morales and then Slash.
No, you can't slash mention. Nothing.
It came out. It came out.
No, you have to pick one. There are 2 games, 2 separate games.
Wants to pick Hades on PS5. Come on.
Yeah. That's
PS5.
one game.
Well, then I'm picking God of War on PC. Like let's be honest here. Like that would be my number 1.
Yeah.
Playing God of War on PC in January of this year. That game, man.
Oof.
There you go.
It came out.
But
yep.
Yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales, the seamless loading or no loading at all in the entire game, because I saw like side by side of you finishing a mission, you're going from one building out to the streets, and it loads on PS4, but on PS5 you're straight out on the street, you can continue on your mission, and that's just like the jump from PS4 to PS5, and just seeing that and just like as much fun as it is to fly around the city in the original Spider-Man on PS4 and the old gens, it's just so much better on the next gen systems because of the no loading. I mean, you're playing the entire game and there's no loading. The only loading that you're getting is loading into the game, which is longer. It's weird. It's like 10-15 seconds before you can actually get into the game. But once you're in, no loading, and the story was amazing. The graphics were amazing. The animation just amazing. And this was the first game I played on the PS5 was Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm like,
that's such an important choice, isn't it? You get that thing home, you clear out your entire room, so you renovate your room so you can fit the beast into the space, and then you choose the game. It's got to be a bit of a looker. Yeah, man. Nice.
Beautiful game.
Nice. Indeed. All right. My number 4, I already mentioned, Astro's Playroom. What an ode to the PlayStation legacy. I expect a sequel that's a multiplayer. I really want a sequel where they take the graphics from each generation, like almost like a mashup of the popular games, PS1, popular games, PS2, and then they make like an Astrobot, Astro's Playroom version of it, and then also make it multiplayer. But
it's got to be on VR too, right? PSVR 2. You'll get a sequel, I would imagine.
Got to be something. I mean, they had the rescue mission, right, Pat?
That's where it originated,
Astrobot,
right?
Yeah, that's where it originated. Was Astrobot rescue mission.
Just think of what they could do that. Like if they place you in a VR setting in some classic PlayStation games, like that would be wild, man.
That would be so wild. So wild.
The rescue mission was actually, it was the first official game, but there was like a Astro's Playground or something like that. I can't remember, but it was on PS4.
The camera game.
That was, I believe, was multiplayer. You could actually play two players on that one.
Because there was a bunch of mini games, and you could play multiplayer.
And why they removed the multiplayer from this Astro's Playroom for PS5 is beyond me. I get it for VR because it's kind of hard to play. If you have two VRs, like it's hard.
That's
to come
dangerous.
by,
You're like smashing your heads into each other and stuff. So.
Yeah,
that'd be bad. But yeah, so Astro's Playroom is my number 4. All right, Mark, what's our next number?
3 video games.
There you go. All right, Sean Capri, you get to lead us out. What's your number, Trace?
Should I have been mentioning honorable mentions, or are we saving that for the end?
Just save it to the end. We'll throw them out there like for fun.
And my numbering kind of doesn't make any sense at all, but this is just kind of how it hits me. But game that came out day and date on Game Pass last year actually. Probably wouldn't have been on anybody's radar, I don't think, if it wasn't for Game Pass, and that's a little game called Outriders. Space sci-fi, totally silly, stupid story and over-the-top acting and occurrences. Outriders, honestly, right from the start, kind of like captured me just with its premise that the world had some catastrophe to happen and humanity is on a couple giant ships finding the new land, and things aren't as good as you thought they would be. You land on this new space and all heck breaks loose. And my goodness gracious, this game is just so fun to jump into and go shoot stuff. And I really liked its sort of blend of it felt like a games as a service kind of thing, but it's really a self-contained. You can play it by yourself or with friends as well. Yeah. I feel like what it did in the way of rewarding you for increasing the difficulty in the world and the tier system that it had is something that I don't know enough people really talk about. And it's one of the reasons that it climbs so far up my list. I don't want to say it's like as revolutionary as something like the Nemesis system, but like it's kind of up there for me. It just really made sense. Like you could really start to, but it's a lot like Diablo. Like it's a lot like that kind of thing where
you're speaking my language. Sean,
yeah. It's a looter shooter, that we've seen that before, but with a kind of silly story. But I just like that, the stakes were so high. That's kind of like my weakness I've found with video games is if the story features something where the stakes are like outrageous, I am there. And that's why I like the BioWare games so much, because I don't think anybody does anything quite like going up against the Blight in Dragon Age or the Reapers in Mass Effect. Like they do that so well. And I liked Outrider's sense of self-awareness and irreverence. Like it didn't take itself too seriously, and not to slam one of your picks, Lucas, but I feel like Horizon kind of like it feels like it's real smart. And Outriders knows that it's not the smartest game in the world, but the premise and the sci-fi nature is just a romp. So I hope that we get to see more of that. I'll be curious to know what happens, just given the whole Square Enix thing. But I really liked Outriders, number 3 for me.
Nice. Well, I bought that one for Christmas. It's still not touched it's still not been loaded.
I'd love to know what you think. Yeah, but like the main character is just a brute. I look forward to it. Yeah, super fun. Cool.
All right, Patrick, your number, Trace.
Ooh, my number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, it's on my to-do list, man. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
Is it your number 3?
It's my number 3.
Guess what? Me 3.
No, I'm so left out.
We are brothers.
Let's
Sorry,
go.
Sean, you're left out.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I mean,
Can we
guess
pause
Nobody
right here?
wants
Just
to
pause the
play
recording.
with you.
Can I go play it for a little bit and come back and talk about it? Is that
A
okay?
month later, we come back. Me four.
Me four.
Yeah, we can edit it in afterwards.
This game, like it came out of nowhere for me. Like I'm like, this is a Marvel single player, Avengers game. Like I really liked the Marvel's Avengers game. Only because I played with Lucas for 200 hours.
That's the only reason we loved it. It's because we played it with each other.
Right. Otherwise, if I didn't have, I wouldn't have played it that much. But this was a fantastic single player story driven game. I am a sucker for stories, and this was an unbelievably well written. It does not deserve to be this good. This game overperformed in my eyes as far as the storyline.
Uncharted in space.
Yes, it was. It was beautiful. The dialogue was spot on with the Guardians of the Galaxy and the way they interact with each other. It's everything that I wanted in a Guardians of the Galaxy game and so much more. It exceeded my expectations in so many ways that I played it twice. Like I had already beaten it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back. Because I know there's like you could go back and to get the platinum, just do a couple little things. I was like, no, I'm gonna play the entire thing again because I want to relive this story. The story was so good.
Mark, keep the train going.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this story. I loved the detail. Like we've talked about this in our spoiler cast before, just the detail down to like they wrote an entire like album, like a hard rock 80s album just for this game. For it to be part of it of the whole story. And just every little detail is fantastic. The story was firing on all cylinders. Like I loved the heart of that story, and of course it's super goofy. It's Guardians. What do you expect?
Right.
But yeah, absolutely loved the gameplay. Loved the story elements of it. I'm just a sucker for those types of Marvel story games that they actually make you feel something, and that's really all I can say about it. It's just it was just a fantastic and fun game overall. So
yeah, man, I echo all of that and so much more. The getting hit in the feels in a Guardians game, and then like 1 millisecond later, like belly laughing, is just such a fun experience. I don't know, like was not expecting such emotional moments from characters that I would say even the MCU Guardians of the Galaxies didn't reach this level of like heart, like where they hit you in the feels. They really, in this game, they divulge some of the backstories of some of the Guardians that I knew about, but like getting to experience it through their perspective was really cool. And was just really an enjoyable narrative experience. And the game itself was fun. I mean, some of the battling got repetitive. The huddle sometimes was weird. I had to put it on, Patrick and I both had to put it on auto successful huddle, because there were sometimes I was like, I don't know what the right option is. And then you get out of the huddle and the music it would pick was not matching the battle. Right. Like you have this huge epic battle and it's like, I can't remember the funniest one.
No Woman, No Cry comes on.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was just like these random crazy songs. It was like, this song does not fit me fighting against this huge giant monster, but whatever. It's part of Guardians also. So it matches, I guess, in some ways. So yeah. All right. Mark, what's the next
too.
one?
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. We already knew you agreed, Sean. It's no worries. Yeah. It's all good. Mark, what's our next one?
Two video games. All
right. Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Patrick already alluded to it kind of in his hybrid pick, but Spider-Man Miles Morales. I really enjoyed that game. That is my number 2 pick. Nice. Yeah, I feel like it took the best parts of is it the 2018? I guess the remastered Spider-Man. Yeah. It took the best parts of it, condensed it, The music is the beats in that game are so good.
Yes.
I feel like it just like the original Marvel Spider-Man on PS4, it made the collectibles meaningful. There were some heartfelt moments that impacted you during boss battles, after boss battles, during collectibles, like in so many different ways. And the game was super fun to play through again because the platinum required it. And I'm softly retired in trophy hunting after getting like 140 something odd trophies, last platinum trophies. It was madness. And this year I'm like, I don't really care. But with that one, like it was a joy to platinum and play twice through. I loved it. And there's nothing like webbing around or swinging around the city of New York as Spider-Man. And not just for myself, but handing the controller to my kids and watching the look on their face as they swing around, and they're not like fumbling with the controller, like, what do I do? It's easy. And yet at the same time, like you can press button combos to be even cooler as Spider-Man. So I loved it. That's my number 2 pick.
Beautiful.
How about you, Marcus?
My number 2 pick also is Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah. Here we go,
man. Mine's all the way down to 4. Goodness gracious.
Way to go, slacker.
Sorry,
you ruined it.
I tried to throw in 2 Spider-Man to do it better, but sorry.
Yeah, man. And you know what's really sad is like this is the first game I played on my PS5 when I got it.
Yeah.
And this was like, obviously I got a day one PS5.
Right.
And that whole time did not realize I was playing the PS4 version of the game.
Oh, man.
No, dang it. Back in the day, it was so hard to tell. Which
was.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell which version you had downloaded. So
yeah.
Thankfully, since then, I have gone back and played the PS5 version of it.
There you go. There you go.
But it is the only game that I have platinumed.
Yep.
And so that's how much I love this game. I loved the gameplay. Yeah, just getting back into that environment and just swinging around New York, and everything just looks beautiful. They do such a great job of recreating New York, and especially it's a Christmas game set around Christmas time. So the snow's flying and everything, and you got Christmas trees.
Can't go wrong with that.
Cannot go wrong with that. And yeah, everything about Miles's character and just that whole background and basically it piggybacking off of the 2018 Spider-Man was just fantastic. I absolutely love the story, and I loved how all of the I love it when the side missions and like the collectibles and things like that, they tie in to the lore of the character and things like that. They make it worth getting. And for me, that was a big thing for both the remastered version or the 2018 Spider-Man and Miles Morales, is like they made it worthwhile picking up those collectibles. Looking at you, Batman Arkham Knight.
Riddler trophies. Get out of here.
But yeah, no, I absolutely love this game. I will pick it up anytime and have a great time with it. So. Yeah, that is my numero dos.
Nice. All right, Patrick, how about you?
My number 2 is Returnal. Now, this game came out of nowhere for me. These are the roguelite games are not games for me that I thought that worked for me. I played Hades, played the heck out of that, platinumed that. But Returnal took full advantage of the PlayStation 5, the haptic feedback, just a beautiful game. This game is beatable. It is a tough game, a really, really tough game. You have to be very strategic and how you maneuver every randomly generated level where enemies are coming at you from different, it's so the way it's randomly generated, like the rooms are, and all the collectibles and all the upgrades and things like that. This game just like drew me in. The story didn't make a lick of sense. And with me being a big story driven guy, and this game just didn't really have one because it was so abstract. It didn't matter because the gameplay was so varied from room to room. It was so beautiful the way they used the lighting and the graphicalness, as well as I call it. And it with all of the different guns and the enemies, this was so beautiful. This was one of the games where, man, I wish it wasn't so hard, so other people could play this game, because it is a very, very difficult game. There is no difficulty on this, which is a barrier to entry for a lot of people. I just wish more people would play this game, because it's so satisfying when you come across a boss and you die, and you have to go all the way back to the beginning of the game. No matter how far you've gotten, you have to go back all the way to the beginning of the game, and then you have to go through the rooms again, get back to the boss. And when you defeat that boss, it is so satisfying. I thought this would be a game where I'd want to throw out my controller, but this game is a game that, like I said, it is beatable. And if you lose, you only have yourself to blame, because every single room, every single level has a way to beat it. And, just kind of like Elden Ring, there is a way to beat these enemies. It's just if you have the patience and the right loadout, the right guns, and every run that you have, every time you die, you'd have to do another run. You have more upgrades that you can have, permanent upgrades and things like that. This game was so fantastic. I think there was recently a DLC that I haven't gotten yet, but I want to jump back into this world. I want to go back and get the platinum for this, because it's just one of the best games on PS5 right now, for next gen, for this current gen, and overall, the game's fantastic.
All right, I can't wait to jump into that one. I think when the PlayStation Plus levels happen in June, I think Returnal is going to be in one of those options. So
yeah, and one of the
joining you for that.
One of the upgrades that they've done to it, one of the downloadable things that they added to it was a multiplayer. You can actually play multiplayer. This used to be a single player game, and how much fun would it be to be able to do that in multiplayer? I've never seen any videos. I've heard anybody talking about playing this game multiplayer, because it is for PS5 only, and it's a roguelike game. That's one of the hardest games out there. So there's a very small amount of people that are talking about playing this game. So really, really excited. So once this PlayStation Premium comes out and more people get their hands on it, I think it's gonna boost the player count. I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice. All right, Shani, give us your number two.
Well, I have to say, it's occurred to me that I actually have two hobbies. One of the hobbies is playing video games, and the other one is just having them, buying them and just not playing them. Yeah. So you guys are rounding out like a nice list for me. I'm like taking notes on the side here. I'm like, okay, I got to get to Spider-Man. I got to get to Returnal. I got to get to Guardians. Like I'm liking this. You're narrowing things down. Maybe it won't be Tomb Raider next time.
There you go.
What are we? Number two. My number two is kind of not typical for me in terms of, I usually like pretty traditional either shooters or whatever. I mean, Metroid is a age-old game at this point.
Sure.
But for me in my gaming history, a JRPG is not part of the lineage.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
But Tales of Arise was one of the games that I played just last year that I'm still thinking about to this day. And whenever I see anybody jump into play it, I'm like, yes, you get to play Tales of Arise for the first time. I don't have a huge amount of history, like I said, with JRPGs in general, and certainly not with the Tales series. But again, stakes in this one. This one is all about story, and it's all about characters. And even the notion of like the premise kind of puts two different peoples against each other. And you start out as a bit of a slave with a kind of like a Leonardo DiCaprio Man in the Iron Mask situation. You can't really like do it. I always wondered how this character eats anything, by the way. I'm not really sure how he stayed nourished. There's a big problem. Like there's
just puree it, drink it through a straw.
Inconsistent. Maybe
I love the thoughts that go through your mind as you're playing. Like, what? I don't care about the story, but I wonder
how does he consume anything?
How feasible is this?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Everything else was totally believable. This like spacefaring thing, and there's like a moon kind of planet, and there's these people who enslave these other people, and there's 300 years of war, and blah blah blah. And also, this is the best part about the main character, the person you play. He can't feel pain. So yeah, my issue is with the iron mask that he's got, not the fact that he doesn't feel any sort of pain.
Right.
And he comes across a kind of a damsel in distress with her own incredible backstory, and they go on this journey to go, well, you know what? Enough of this crap. We are freeing our people, and we go through all these different realms with leaders, almost like Hunger Games style with the different districts. There's different leaders with different styles of oppressing their people. And it's just really interesting. You start out, you're basically like in the Flintstones age. Your job is to break rocks down, I guess. And you move on to the next area, and you meet another character who has a very troubled relationship with his dad. And that is really interesting. You go on to the next area, and it actually seems like everything is great, but maybe not everything is as it seems. And my goodness gracious, it just plays so well. It's beautiful. I played with Japanese voice acting and then English subtitles. So I get like the full Japanese emotion in the voice acting. I don't know what they're saying half the time, because I'm like playing in a battle, which is this wonderful mix of active action, but kind of like move based. It's not full like Devil May Cry, but it's kind of like that a little bit in these kind of you emerge into these combat situations like most other JRPGs. They're kind of emergent. You go fight a little battle, and you're back into the main world. You go journey on. But the game is beautiful. The music is wonderful, and yeah, they're shouting out Japanese stuff that I can't pay attention to the subtitles and the combat because I'm trying to win,
trying to survive.
But I really recommend this game. Like again, like if you're not into JRPGs to a huge degree, like I think it's got a pretty good on ramp for people like us, like I'm not too storied in it. So Tales of Arise is my number two of this generation. It was my number two of last year as well, overall. So little hint as to where I might be going next.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. Tales of Arise. I've heard good things. I actually early on in my gaming days, like PS1, like Breath of Fire, Wild Arms, Final Fantasy games like 7 and 8, 9. Like I played a bunch of those JRPGs, and then now that I'm a dad, now that I'm an adult, they scare me. Like I really want to try Persona 5. I've heard about Tales of Arise. I want to try those out, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to put that time investment in. But yeah, that's great.
I get maybe one a year as it's turned out. Yeah, I think the year before, I think I played Xenoblade Definitive Edition. So with Xenoblade 3 coming out, I'm like, I don't know if I can squeeze in 2 and 3 coming out. But yeah, as it turns out, I get about one of those a year.
Okay. I think one a year is a good goal. Good goal to have. So sweet. All right. Well, what number are we on now, Mark? I think that's the grand finale.
One video game.
Numero uno. Our next gen current GOAT. Sean, we're just going to come right back to you.
Oh, snap.
Lay it on us. We're snaking it. So
man, I almost want to do all the honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but I will hold on to it.
Do we want to do our honorable mentions?
Let's do honorable mentions before we
okay. Well, look at me.
Number one.
Totally changed the damn show. Sorry, guys.
No, we roll with the punches. So Mark, what are we on now?
Honorable mentions.
Other video games.
Other. Number 6 through 27. Yeah. All right. So actually, why don't we do this? You share your honorable mentions, and then you just share your number one.
Sure.
So Sean, we'll just meet in the middle. So Sean,
perfect.
Throw us your honorable mentions, and then tell us your number one.
Yeah, I'll kind of breeze through because there's a bunch of good games. I wasn't sure how this was really gonna lay up because I was thinking about the last couple of years, and I've missed a lot of the games you guys have talked about, and I'm really curious to see what your number one is. I probably haven't played that one either. I didn't get a PS5 until quite recently, actually, so I've missed out on quite a lot of stuff there. And it does seem, just reflecting back on that maybe PS5 has had more next gen kind of things. Like when you think next gen, it may be more on PS5 now that we're almost 2 years in. But I'll kind of mention a few. I had mentioned Psychonauts 2 was one of my honorable mentions. Actually, the game that I just talked about at the beginning, Life is Strange, definitely deserves to be on my honorable mention list. It's one of the best in that series. Yakuza Like a Dragon, you guys. Okay. Again, just an absolutely silly and wild game. I think it's still in Game Pass. That game is just ridiculous. Far Cry 6, also a very good Far Cry game that I spent a ton of time in. More of just like an action romp, kind of just go around, shoot stuff. The guns are ridiculous and has a story that engages most people. And I just finished the Destiny 2 Witch Queen campaign a little while ago, and that was awesome, dude. Like that game, it's weird. Some of these games that have been around for a little while, and Destiny, I feel for whatever reason, just seems to have this ongoing weird narrative to it that people can't decide if they like it or if they don't like it. Like, is it good or not? Like I come down on Destiny 2 to go like, this game is really good and it looks great and it just feels good to shoot. Of course, there's a whole bunch of nonsense in there that I have no idea what's happening, but it doesn't keep me from loving the game anyways. But I just think, I think Destiny 2 is actually a pretty special game that rounds out my, I have a couple more. That was another one that I have. And speaking of Bungie, we talked about it before. Halo Infinite definitely deserves to be on the honorable mention list. That I wish it was one of my top 5. And it was actually when we were deciding game of the year last year was my game of the year. And now kind of like, what are we, 6 months afterwards going like, I'm a little conflicted on how I rank it overall with the rest of next gen. Cause it's still part of the conversation, but it's not nearly as high up as it was. But I do love that, Pat, you're playing it right now and again, experiencing it kind of hopefully outside of just the vitriol that is thrown at Halo. It's just one of those properties,
I don't care what people think.
That's good.
Like it's I want to experience it for myself, because there's a lot of games that were like 4s and 5s that I love. And there's a lot of games that like Elden Ring. It's one of the best rated games of all time. Yeah. And it's not for me.
Yeah. I've just decided that I'm gonna pass on that one. Maybe I don't even know if it's the price, but that's a whole other story. Because the reason it was game of the year for me last year is because I was primarily ranking it on the very brief amount of time that we'd spent on it with multiplayer, but the single player I loved. Like I really liked running around in that open world. So yeah, kudos to them on that. And then a last shout out to The Medium, which was also kind of like a Game Pass darling kind of thing. Medium was pretty cool as well. Yeah.
Nice.
But my number one might be a little too on brand, and especially given the hype materials you guys cobbled up for me being on the show. I like racing games, and I've always liked racing games. I had a bit of a break from them for a period of time when you needed story in games. You need to play like Fallout 3 and some of these games and get really involved. But like when I think back to some of my earliest gaming memories, it was racing games, and Forza Horizon 5 is at the top of its genre, to be honest. Even to the point where I played a little bit of Gran Turismo 7. I'm like, I don't need another racing game. Yeah. So I actually gave it to my brother. I'm like, I'll just go back and play around in Forza Horizon 5. Mexico as a setting is perfect. They actually, it's to the point where I feel like they almost don't even need to make another Forza Horizon 5 between Australia with 3 and Mexico with 5. I just think it's so sublime. Runs perfectly smooth on both my Series X and S. I imagine it probably would on my PC as well. And whether or not I want to just go race and make some progress or just wander around the open world, I think Forza Horizon 5 is one of the most special games that often gets overlooked because it's a racing game. So I might be overcompensating a little bit on that front, but yeah, we kind of go like, racing games are supposed to look great and they play like anything else. But this one, I played a lot of racing games, and this does feel that the cars feel independent from one another. I think it's got a great selection of game modes that feel totally separate from one another. And the game walks me around the world. So I see different things. It introduces me to new cars in a natural way. So I'm not just like, I pick my favorite Porsche and I'm just going to like drive that forever. Yeah. It's got me in a Halo Warthog and it's got me in a Jeep, whatever, and all these different cars. And I think it's special. They've got a great formula with it. So my number one game of this generation is Forza Horizon 5 from Playground.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah. For Forza Horizon 5 for me was one of my honorable mentions. This game. You. So yeah, but I'm not too big on racing games. I will play the racing games, but the Forza franchise, Forza Horizon franchise is the best set of racing video games there are.
Yeah.
And going from Forza 3 to 4 to 5 to me is the same game as far as like the menus, the look of everything.
Yeah.
But going from Forza Horizon 4 to current gen Forza Horizon 5 is just a huge jump in what just the graphics of it all. Just being able just driving any car that you want. It doesn't matter. It gives you that recommended car, but so you don't have to do it. But that's one of the great ways of playing of driving different cars.
Yeah.
Is just using the recommended cars or buying a recommended car. And it is one of those games where it's like, you know what? I have like 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and jump into Forza Horizon. It's one of those games you can jump in and jump out and it's great to have it like that.
It's very welcoming to people who aren't like racing aficionados, which is exactly what a game like that really needs. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of like a difficulty, but it's very accessible in a kind of different way. I love that it's got almost like a Siri or an AI that goes like, what should I do next? And gives you 4 options. It'll just take you there. That's awesome. That's exactly what should happen. And through the difficulty, you can difficulty options, you can really customize your experience on how you like to play. Like, do you need a full racing line? Do you just need to be told when to brake? Do you need all these other different things? Drivatars are an totally overlooked feature in the Forza games that I think, whether or not they're real or not, I don't care. Whether they actually represent, Pat, how you drive a car, I don't care. I just like seeing you in the world, whether I'm racing against you or you're just like driving around. I think that's super cool. So there's all these different like touches about it that go, like they thought of everything.
Yeah, it was. I was talking to one of our joiners, Tim Pollan, and he said that he saw me driving. Yes. It wasn't me. I wasn't online or anything. I wasn't playing, but he saw me driving a 1969 Chevy Nova SS, and I'm like, yes, that's the car I would drive. I'm glad I'm driving it. I'm glad you saw me on there. It's just one of those cool things, especially when you're in a race against your friends and you beat them. You're like,
yeah. And they set you up with like rivals and stuff, dude. I could go on about Forza forever. Like, there's so much to it. Yeah, they've got a battle royale, for goodness sake. Like, and it's actually pretty decent. It's a fun take on that whole thing.
Yeah,
interesting. See, I didn't even know that.
It's tough. It's tough.
Is it? Okay.
I bet. All right, Pat, you already started with your honorable mention, so continue and give us your numero uno.
No, I'll give my honorable mentions first, right?
Yep.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. All right. Sifu was
Sifu
came out of nowhere. Seafood. Another difficult game that I didn't think I would like, but it was just one of those games where I wanted to beat it. I wanted to overcome the challenges of this game, and it was one of those roguelike games that I didn't think I would like. It's so crazy that I ended up beating that game, and I was so satisfied with beating that game. I was one death away from game overing this game and having to restart. And I beat the game. My life was so small. Beat the final boss, and I beat the game. Felt like I had accomplished something. Fantastic game. Nice. Sackboy. I have like 10 of these, so I'm gonna go through them real quick. Sackboy, amazing PS5 game. If you have a family, or if you want to do a couch co-op like Ronnie had mentioned, play Sackboy. It's an amazing game. Unpacking, one of those small little indie games, was a fun, just chill game. Really, really good, really fun game. Hot Wheels Unleashed, played a ton of that with my son. That's another reason why that's probably on my honorable mentions, because I played so much with my son. I'm going to say Spider-Man Remastered because it's a different game. It's a different Spider-Man. It's a different Peter Parker.
These rules, man.
Yeah, it's a different Peter Parker.
We make our own rules.
Apparently.
Horizon Forbidden West, fantastic game. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Astro's Playroom, Artful Escape.
I'm going to mention all the games.
I have just a few. Artful Escape, that came out of nowhere. I loved it. Like I said, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, and that is it. So those are my honorable mentions. My number one game is my most played PS5 game so far, and it only came out a month ago, and that's WWE 2K22.
Yeah.
It was now it's not my overall most played game because that's Apex Legends.
Yep.
Yeah.
I put like 2,000 hours into that game so far. But for the PS5, it's WWE 2K22, my number one most played game. The game is like I just came into wrestling out of nowhere during COVID when there was no baseball, and I needed something to watch, and I fell back into it like I was in high school again, and fell in love with the storylines. And this game is so unbelievable that this is the best character creation of any game ever. And you can, if you wanted to, you can create a Batman, you can create a Superman, you can create any Marvel character, any DC character. You can create Darth Vader. It's unbelievable the amount. And this isn't like a PC. This is PS5. Like there's so many different layers. They have the ability to upload images, upload faces to their WWE network, and you can download those into the game and then just put them on there. And it's so awesome. So people create WWE legends. People create current like NBA, Major League Baseball, football superstars into this game, and it looks exactly like them. It's so like it's a wrestling game, but you don't have to have it doesn't need to be a wrestling game if you want to have Batman versus Superman in the ring. It's really, really cool how you can do that. And that's really why my playtime is so high, because I'm into community creations and I'm looking at the thousands of different things that people have uploaded that I can download into my game and use it in my game. It's so awesome.
Can you create like I don't know how else to say it, but like levels, like spaces, like a map editor kind of thing? Because when you said you can import your faces, what I would want to do is go to my parents' backyard, take a picture, and do backyard wrestling in my parents' backyard, like when I was 12 years old.
That would be awesome.
That would be really cool. They do have a created arena, but there is no like backyard.
Yeah, give me my backyard, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, jumping off my parents' minivan, off the garage. Holy cow, we did some terrible things.
That would be next level. That'd be awesome.
That would be. All right, Marcus, honorable mentions and numero uno.
So Sean, if you were to listen to this show, you would pretty much know that I am not an honorable mentions person. I don't pick honorable mentions. Like I just don't have the extras. But I do have one in this case. Woo. And that is Tunic.
Oh man! Oh, I got it's on the list. It's oh my gosh! This game.
So
shoot,
I will have to qualify that statement. Like Tunic, specifically on no fail mode, because otherwise you are playing baby's first Dark Souls game. That game is ridiculously difficult if you don't turn it. It has two different settings you can turn on with it. There's no fail mode. And then I forget the specific what they call it, but it's you don't lose any stamina in terms of like having to like dodge or run or anything like that. They have that setting to where you can turn those on and basically you don't die. And so once you turn those on, for me it was an amazing game to play. Now me being the huge Zelda fan that I am, like we've talked on the show about that. It's very much a love letter to that. The only thing that's a gripe is they have like their own language that they've made for the game. All the text is basically written in that language, and they don't ever decipher it for you. So you kind of have to just look at pictures and guess based on that. But other than that, like it's still a really fun game to be a part of, and it's very much like a love letter to Zelda games, those old school games. So that is my honorable mention if I have to give one. But generally, like I'm not an honorable mention person. But my number one, and just turning this, like I had to take this downstairs to my 4K TV and play it there because this game is just so beautiful to look at. Everything about it is fantastic to look at. The world is fantastic. I loved the first game and the story behind that, and so I was super excited to jump into its sequel, and that would be Horizon Forbidden West.
Nice.
I absolutely loved the story, the characters, the world that you're in. It grabbed me pretty quickly. Unlike with Lucas, it grabbed him, but towards the end. But I absolutely loved this story. I still say Zero Dawn is better than
Agreed.
Forbidden West, but I loved being in this world. I loved everything looked beautiful. This was like, if you're making me a game, giving me a game where I'm actually interested in the different dialogue trees, then that's a big deal. And so I was actually listening to all the different dialogue trees that you can go through with the different characters and things like that. And yeah, I just love the whole idea of, there's this long gone civilization that like is, it's basically our current civilization, but it's like a century removed or whatever, several centuries removed, something like that. And just this whole background of these like primitive characters dealing with, learning about these like these huge technological advancements and things like that, and the story behind that, I just absolutely loved it. So yeah, Horizon Forbidden West is my numero uno.
Nice.
Good pick.
All right. I got a few honorable mentions. I don't have as many as Patrick. I
play a lot of games.
You play a lot of games, and I've realized even in you guys talking about, some of your picks and your honorable mentions, I was like, man, I got to get moving. I want to play that. Yep. I want to play that too. So I feel you, Sean. You're not the only one. So, so honorable mention, you mentioned it. Capri is Destiny 2 Witch Queen. I played through that with my other Canadian friend, Chris the Rock Kerwin. We played through that on Saturday mornings for a few weeks, and it was fun. It was my first go into Destiny 2. I still haven't done a raid. I still haven't done
me neither.
Night Strike. I haven't done all the fancy stuff that people rave on and on about. I just played through the campaign, and it was a fun shooter. Nice little PvE. I much prefer the PvE over the PvP shooters, and it was a blast. It was like Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings. Like magic and guns, and it was fun. So I can feel the Bungie vibes, like the Halo, like original Halo, that kind of DNA, like going through into Destiny, like epic moments, beautiful music, set pieces and battles that are really cool. So I enjoyed that a lot.
And ammo. It has ammo.
And plenty of ammo. I love when you get a gun and it just has that infinity symbol on it, and I'm just like, yeah, baby, not running out of ammo at all. When it has the special ammo or the heavy, I'm like, well, forget about it. I'm going to use it like 5 times, run out of ammo, and then just go back to my infinity bullets. The other shout out is definitely Forza Horizon 5. I am definitely, as those who listen to the show know, I don't play Xbox very much. I have nothing against Xbox. There's just things that PlayStation does that's reeled me in, and it's just hard. PlayStation has its claws in me. I'm a Sony pony, but not in a mean sort of PlayStation's the best. It's just, for whatever reason, the way they do their games, the way they do trophies, everything, it just matches with my personality and everything else. But Forza Horizon 5, once I got an Xbox and returned back to a little bit of Xbox gaming, it's a beautiful game. I am not a car guy. I've played some car games. The ones that I really get into are the weird ones like Onrush. Remember that one, Patrick?
Oh, yes.
Loved that game, Onrush, but that is not a normal car game for those that have played it. But the normal car games where you're like, I got a 57 Chevy, I got a rotary girder, whatever. I'm just like, I mean, you give me you give me a 97 Dodge Viper and I'm like, cool, I like that. That looks nice. And I don't really care, being honest. But at the same time,
Tesla.
yeah, right. That game is beautiful. And I recognize that. Like when I have friends over here at my house, when I want to show them next gen, I put that first mission of Forza Horizon 5 on, where you're dropping cars out of the plane and like switching them off back and forth. Like I'm just like, that's showing off next gen. So shout out to that. Shout out to Uncharted Legacy Collection. It was a remaster, of course. It's kind of cheating, of course, but I'm all about that.
I'll allow it.
Squeeze it in there.
Totally cheating, guys. I would. Okay, so Mass Effect like Legendary Edition.
Yeah, that's a good one
number
too.
one on my damn list. Like,
Super Mario 3D World.
no.
So I throw that out because it's a beautiful game and one of my favorite games of all time. And getting to play Lost Legacy for the first time was really a treat. Getting to do it on PS5 was the best. Mm-hmm. Another shout out that Marc already alluded to that is definitely cheating, but I don't care because I played it and beat it on PS5 is Hades. It came out on Switch before next gen, but for me as a PlayStation gamer, it came out this gen. And I've platinumed it once on PS4. I am going to platinum it again on PS5. It's my favorite game of all time. So full of heart, super deep, varied gameplay, beautiful animation, voice acting, etc. I've already talked about it too much, so moving on. My number one is, and I dedicate this number one to Patrick. It's the DLC for Dead Cells, The Queen and the Sea.
Wow.
He's having his good night, everybody.
Yeah, he's deleting me. He's banning me.
Yeah,
no,
you're banned. You're banned from Discord. Sorry.
Being honest, I couldn't come up with like the number one easy. I was kind of like you, Sean. Like I was just like throwing all these games around, and I'm like, I don't know that I've actually hit my true number one. So yeah. I kind of threw in Dead Cells in there because it surprised me. Like, and I've touched on it already, and Patrick's already like, la 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 la, not listening. This Dead Cells game has been updated nonstop since 2018. But this DLC came out at the end of last year, and they doubled the trophy count from 50 some trophies to 103 trophies on PlayStation. And so I went back just to get the trophies, and I got to this DLC. It added 3 levels. It added new bosses. It added such unique game design for this game that I was blown away. Like, cause it had like creepy horror in this abandoned ship area. And then they get to a lighthouse and you're being pursued by 3 bosses where you sometimes have to run away. Then you have to fight them. Then you have to run away some more and fight. And then you have a final boss where it turns out it's your wife in the game and you have to fight her and kill her and all that, punch her in the face, just like the Astromechs. But yeah. So sorry for the violent talk there, Sean. I know that hurts.
Yeah, you guys were like church faring friendly people.
We are. It's digital. Punching. Okay. We're punching people. We only punch those that deserve it, and Astromechs and Queens deserve it. So yeah. That's my number one.
As is said in the Bible. Yes.
That's right. As it says in
as is tradition.
Hezekiah chapter 15. Okay. So there you go. That is our top 5. Hope you enjoyed it. I do want to share at least one joiner's top 5. That is Justice in Greece, aka Tim Pollen. His top 5 is number 5, The Medium, which got
nice Tim Pollen. Earlier. Yes.
Number 4, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 3, Halo Infinite. Number 2, Horizon Forbidden West. And number uno is, drumroll, number 1, Forza Horizon.
My 5. Man, yes.
Bah! He writes bah afterwards.
Yes,
I have no idea why.
Tim.
So he does. Yeah. And then you done messed up. Aaron said, I'd like to cast my vote for Spider-Man Miles Morales, which gets in just under the threshold. Technically, I think it was a PS5 launch title. You are correct, Aaron. Modern narrative-driven games kind of suffer from Goldilocks syndrome, where either they're too big or too small. Miles Morales was just right. Also, from a meta perspective, Insomniac used a more or less the same game world assets as the first Spider-Man, while changing a few details, which allowed the quick release of a completely new narrative in a world that still feels somewhat familiar. In doing that, they might have stumbled upon a blueprint for future gaming that helps cut down on development times for IPs. One can dream, at least. Well said, Aaron. That's a good pick. I think that was his number one. So there you go.
Next up is Wolverine in New York.
Oh man.
Yeah.
For no reason.
That should be fun. And there's why not? Wolverine it's got to be in Canada, man. Right?
I know. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be in your neck of
my
the woods.
backyard. Exactly.
Yeah, there'll be like an Easter egg where he's wrestling with you
in
your backyard.
Yeah, I'm an extra in the background.
You're an extra back there.
I honestly can't wait for that game, man. Holy cow! What a studio.
Yep.
These guys are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt. It's exciting. All right. Well, that is all for our top 57 games of the top 5 and honorable mentions. We pretty much covered them all. Sorry to any games out there we did not cover.
No kidding.
This gen. You apparently are no good. So go back and try again, do an update or something, get a DLC. Maybe we'll mention you next time.
I really do feel bad for anything we missed. Like, what did we miss?
I don't know. I don't mean it. We appreciate all the games.
Sorry,
we know someone's sorry. Today's episode was brought to you by Tear the Tags Off Mattresses Day. That's right, folks. We're celebrating Tear the Tags Off Your Mattresses Day. It's a national holiday in the U.S. Celebrate it. Go tear those mattresses. It's supposed to be
sleepover day. We're tearing the mattresses on our sleepover day.
Illegal,
no, the
man?
tags. No, it's only illegal for the companies that sell them. That's where that came from. Because back in the day, they would fill beds with garbage, discarded food, old rags, and horsehair. And the tag apparently made it authentic. So,
all right,
companies can't rip those off. The more you know. All right, GMG Goats. Sean has no idea what we're talking about. He may have forgotten since we told him about it a long time ago. But the Good Morning Guys greatest of all time shows list. We are nominating and voting for our top 40 series or shows or whatever you want to call it, because nobody really watches TV anymore. We probably watch most of these on our phones or a tablet or whatever. But we're going to throw out our picks, starting with Marcus. What do you got?
So my pick is going to be it's going to be Stranger Things.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh, nice.
All right.
I
You sounded just like it.
That was really good.
I absolutely love the show. I'm excited for the newest season to come out, part 1 of the newest season. Because I think part 1 comes out in this month, actually.
May 27th or something like that. And then the other one's in July.
In July, yep. I just love the 80s type feel, the setting to it, and old school horror, sci-fi-ish type of thing. I love the characters in it. So, yeah. Stranger Things.
Nice. Patrick.
I'm going to go with Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
I am
nice.
Docs.
Yeah. This is I didn't catch it until like the 4th season. So it was awesome to catch up all the way through the first 3 seasons and then start in season 4. And then it was one of those things where I was like, now I have to watch week to week. And I have
that's
to
always
wait for this.
That's always
for
tough.
The next year and all that.
Turn
stuff.
on the brakes.
But yeah, it was. Man, if I don't know if that's my number 1 or number 2 or whatever it is, but it is one of the best I've ever seen.
Sean, what do you got?
Who said Lost last week, by the way?
Lucas.
Lost is like, I don't want to repeat, but I just want to acknowledge. I was
you can
nodding
repeat.
along. Well, I don't know, like the pilot especially, like just which is an oddly like kind of term in TV given everything that happens in Lost that in the pilot and blah blah.
Yeah,
Lost is special, and I know there's you guys talked about it as well. Like there's a common kind of like falls off. I don't care. I was in every single week. Didn't care how weird it got. You go back to the island. Who cares? That entire series, the characters. Honestly, I feel like we're living in Lost right now because like when we are on like planet Earth is our island and we have just found each other. You know what I mean? Like all the people that we found in podcast land. Like,
what's this smoke,
dude?
That's right.
And it gets a little weird. Like, of course, that kind of stuff is strange. We're just
you're so right, brother.
Up. But I think that show is so special, and it like whether you agreed with the ending or you agreed with just like the direction of the show overall, to me it was just clear that they poured so much love into every word of the script and everything about that. So I just wanted to echo the sentiments on that because I think Lost is in a league of its own.
That means it's in there twice now. So
yeah, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. The other thing I was wondering before I launched into it is like, do they have to be kind of like dramas? Like all the shows we're talking about, like high quality stuff. So Mark, you're not an honorable mention, but I want to give an honorable mention to like Metalocalypse and Chappelle Show. Stuff like that, like South Park. You know, like there's some really good raunchy stuff out there. But I don't know, maybe this is more in line with kind of the types of shows you guys are talking about. But I'm gonna throw 24 in there. My boy Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland, Canadian hero, CTU, the counter-terrorist unit, you know, just a great, again, premise. 24 hours. There are 24 episodes in a season. Yep. Every hour is an hour in the day. And yeah, every odd number season is a nuclear threat. So you knew it was coming. I love 24, man. That show was excellent. It was one of the shows, at least for me, it just seemed like one of the first ones that dared to do something awful to the characters you just were starting to like. You know, you like this director of CTU, he's gone. He's gonna. You don't like this guy. Well, you know what? He's gonna have a redemption arc in trying to save his team, but he's gonna go breathe in some noxious gas or be another guy exposed to radiation poisoning. And my God, like the things that happen to these people are horrendous and horrific. And Jack Bauer doesn't sleep until he's temporarily killed for a moment. And the show is just outrageous, but amazing. I love that show.
That's a great pick.
Now 24. Is one of my favorite shows of all time. Hasn't hit the list yet. Haven't gotten there yet. But there was a PS2 game, 24, the game that bridged season 2 and season 3. And it was, if I wish they would, they're not going to, but I want them to remaster the game because it's one of the, it does the same thing. It's the same thing where each level is a day or an hour of the day. And it was just it was one of those games where it's just like they took the essence of the game of the show and put it into the game.
It is a game. It's a video game made to. It's just the game doesn't exist yet, but it's basically a video game kind of premise made into a TV show. It's because it's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, yeah,
it really is ridiculously amazing. My pick for this week is Heroes.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Is there a mantra that was more repeated? Yeah. I loved Hero. I loved Save the Cheerleader, Save the World. I love Peter Petrelli.
Silas? Peter Petrelli. Siler. So what a great villain.
What a great villain. He was menacing. Now, later on, the later on stuff got a little...
Yeah,
I don't even say weird because
it was the writer's strike.
It took a turn and it lost its almost lost its heart. Like it went off in weird directions. But I still like that. Those first two seasons were.
I had on
amazing.
HD DVD. I had season 1 on HD DVD.
Nice.
Wow.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, man. No, it got rid of them. Not that long ago. Shockingly, not that long ago. Well, who's the guy with the painting, the long hair artist guy who would kind of like see the future? Oh my, like
I can't remember, but
I ignored that. I remember thinking, well, it's just like X-Men, like what a knockoff of all these individual people with like mutant powers kind of thing, and I wrongfully dismissed it. Yeah. But yeah, what a special show! Holy cow! They don't make them like they used to. You know what I mean?
They don't. You are so right.
I feel like that was the golden age, and man, I could throw like. Because I'm not going to be here again next week, but like Mad Men was in there too, like right around the time I would say like Breaking Bad. But man, now it's too much. Now it's just a glut, but there was good stuff back then.
Yeah, faux show. As is tradition, some quick housekeeping where we offer towels, fluff pillows topped with Andy's candies and tip you off to the GMG news you need to know. The GMG stream team continues to offer content and conversation Sunday to Saturday on Twitch. Check out Chris, who's currently wrapping up our April game of Arkham Knight for GMG VGBC, our book club. And also he's playing Destiny 2 with me still on Saturdays. Mark is mainlining them Zelda games throughout the year.
Yep.
Still on Majora's Mask?
Yep. After a 2-week hiatus, back onto Majora's Mask.
Back to it. Yep. Very nice. And then you can find me playing just random games Monday, Wednesday, Friday around lunchtime. Tuesday, Thursdays at the Butt Crack of Dawn as I fill in for Canadian Chris. Probably not Tuesday tomorrow because that's in like 4 hours. So I'm not up for that. But you can find us at twitch.tv and links are in the show notes. I also believe Sean, our very own Sean Capri, is also a streamer. Why don't you go ahead and throw those facts out?
All your socials and all that.
How people, all the
it.
socials, all the plug it all so people can find you, they can watch you, they can join you.
Thanks, man. Well, man, it's been so much fun just kind of hanging out with you guys. So thank you for having me on here. People can find me on Twitter and on Twitch at Sean Capri. Of course, it's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. And usually I play on Saturday nights over on Twitch. We've mostly been playing Halo on Halo Saturdays, but every once in a while we'll spring in some Nintendo Switch Sports or Mario Kart or Splatoon and things like that. But I'm excited actually to jump into a bit of the season 2 here. Hopefully Xbox has their stuff all sorted out here. But Twitch is there. And if people want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/carpool gaming is where they can find all the stuff, all the podcasts and everything we do. Video versions for now as well.
Sweet.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. I will say too, this is going to be the last time to tell you before it happens, but next week is our extra life stream week with me and Chris the Colonel, Chris the Rock Kerwin. We're going to be, he's going to be doing most of Monday, May 16th. And then the rest of the week, I pretty much am going to try to cover breakfast, lunch, and a late dinner every day, Tuesday through Friday. We'll be playing just a bunch of different games. He's going to be trying to get a metric ton of platinums on PlayStation. I'm going to be playing everything from Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Celeste, roguelikes, few multiplayer surprises, probably playing yet another zombie defense with Patrick. It'll be a surprise. We'll be playing all kinds of stuff. So please join us for that on Twitch. And then if you're not into streaming, you'd rather tweet with us on Twitter or discourse on Discord. Links are in the show notes. You can join us for that. You can call us at 929 GMG Guides for any questions, comments, or feedback. Speaking of feedback, if you're the giving type, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and Spotify. Helps us reach new joiners, whether you give us stars, exclamation marks, feedback, and encouraging word. We hope you'll let your voice be heard. Just like 123 Red Fish did, we got a review last week, my friends.
Right.
Yeah. It's titled Great Podcast with an exclamation mark. We appreciate that exclamation mark. 5 stars. Seem like very chill guys who can talk about funny, goody subjects to more serious items. They're one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, and I'm never disappointed. Are you sure you've listened enough to never be disappointed?
Glad we read this at the end. I would have felt unimaginable pressure.
Oh, no pressure whatsoever, Sean. No pressure whatsoever.
That's too much.
So we appreciate
nice review.
Yeah, isn't that a nice review? What a nice young man or woman.
Yeah.
Or fish. What a nice young fish. 1, 2, 3, red fish. We appreciate your review, Red Fish. Before we sign off, I actually, because who knows when you're going to be visiting us again, Sean, I have a quick fire for you that I want you to do your best. We had a couple joiners throw some quick fire questions at you.
I like it.
And I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. I don't want them to feel left out.
Okay.
Starting with our very own Canadian, Chris the Rock Kerwin. He wants to know your favorite Canadians in these subjects. Are you ready?
Okay.
Favorite?
Okay, like narrow down a little bit. I thought it was just going to be favorite Canadians in general. Okay.
No. Yeah. Name all your favorite
Chris
Canadians. Though. My mom, my dad, my brother. No. Favorite. Hold on, we'll get there. Favorite Canadian actor.
Oh my. Ryan Reynolds. Right now, I'll say Ryan Reynolds.
Great choice.
Good pick. Yes.
Jim Carrey as well.
So it says favorite Canadian signer, but I think he meant singer.
So
Bryan
Adams.
Singer.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So far, you are 2 for 2 so far. All right. This one you might lose the rest of us. Favorite Canadian Prime Minister.
I don't think I have a favorite Prime Minister.
That is correct. That is a correct
answer. I think that's the right
None of them.
Nobody. Yeah.
All right. Favorite Canadian game developer.
Oh, that's tough. There's a lot of really good ones. I'm going to give a shout out to Studio MDHR, who did Cuphead.
Nice.
Ooh, good choice.
Yes.
Favorite Canadian dish?
I mean, poutine is so
cliche. I was like, what is that?
You know, like, what else do we even do? I don't know.
Tim Hortons?
Hot chocolate with marshmallows in it.
I think say hot chocolate with mushrooms.
Mushrooms, yeah. So it's a different part of Canada.
Yeah, that's
that's on the other side of the tracks
north
of Canada.
Yeah, the part we don't talk about.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know what we do. I don't know. I don't think that there's really a Canadian dish. I might be totally out to lunch on that one.
Fair enough. Yeah. Patrick and I were actually talking about it earlier. It was like, so we go out for, hey, let's have Chinese tonight. And then we're like, hey, let's go out for Canadian. Like, what
exactly?
Would that mean?
Like, yeah, bacon, like Canadian bacon on a plate.
Okay. We accept that answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. With real beer.
Can I ask you this question, Sean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of this or not. Have you ever heard of pâté chinois?
I don't think I have.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So it's basically like shepherd's pie. If you've ever heard of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's pâté chinois is Chinese pie, but apparently it originates from like French Canadian area.
There is and it's funny, it's probably a lot like the States as well. Like just depending on where in Canada you go, there's definitely like different ways of living. Like it's quite different. You go out to the maritime provinces out east and life is very different out there. And I don't know exactly what they call it. But there's something, it's like a hot sandwich or something. It's like toast or bread with peas on it and gravy. Like we just love gravy and it is, it sounds awful, but it's pretty good. It's
gravy. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying gravy, nothing warms you like gravy. Like it coats your like stomach, your body. It's great.
I think, Newfoundland or Nova Scotia out there. There's good stuff out there.
Yeah. And that's actually where Chinese pie, that's actually where it originated, was the maritime provinces.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lucas, did you say coats your body? Like, I don't know what to do with it. The gravy just coats your body.
Let's go ahead and walk away from that.
I thought I did a pretty good job. Let's just keep going.
Continue to walk away from
after
that.
hours.
I just meant your stomach, the inside of your body, not the outside of your body.
All right.
It's not Imodium or like Gaviscon or something.
You don't feel that when you eat something with gravy. It
just goes down the stomach tube and then around and
cooks it. Yeah, it warms it up.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Canadian restaurant.
Oh, you guys don't know any of them though. There's a place.
That's fine. That's part of the fun.
I'll say Boston Pizza, which is oddly named given that it's only here in Canada.
It's in Canada, but
it started here. It's a chain. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Boston Pizza it is.
Or New York Fries might also be Canadian. I'm not entirely sure about
why
that.
Are they all American?
We like American stuff. What else?
Baton Rouge baked potatoes.
Exactly.
All right. Canadian city.
Ooh, it's got to be Vancouver.
All
Vancouver.
Right.
Vancouver's there, but also shout out to Halifax out in Nova Scotia. Yeah.
There you
go.
Good times.
Nova Scotia. I like
Nova
it.
Scotia.
Nova Scotia. Canadian mountain.
There is, there's the Rockies, but there is a mountain. I think it's called Castle Mountain or Castle Rock or something like that. It looks like an actual castle, but we didn't shape it that way. I don't think. I think it was just, nature's way. It looks pretty cool though.
That makes it even cooler.
We didn't carve out faces into our mountains. It was just
okay.
Yeah, a fortress.
Well, that was also nature. The one we have in.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
God's hands.
That was nature.
Amazing.
Yep. Last one. Fictional characters. Canadian
fictional characters. I mean, Wolverine.
Come on, that's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. I feel like there's got to be others, but that's definitely the one
Dudley
that comes up.
There's got to be.
What did you say, Mark?
So Dudley Do Right.
Oh, I thought you said Doom Guy for some reason. I'm like, yeah, make him Canadian. Yeah, send him to Mars.
Sure,
deal with these demons.
Doom Guy.
Doom Guy is Canadian.
Yep, didn't know that, but here we are.
There's lots, but I'm blanking.
Well,
but yeah,
fake
Wolverine
news going around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Deadpool's Canadian as well too. I think Deadpool's from Regina, Saskatchewan, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys don't believe me, or just like
name
Regina? Like, is that an actual place?
Yep, I believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Two more. I actually have more questions. I'm a liar.
Liar.
This is fun.
This is it. Humar Whittle. He had this to ask. Why are Canadians afraid of the dark?
Is there like a riddle? Like, is there an answer to this? Or
No, there's no answer.
I don't know. You tell me why they're afraid of the dark.
Right in next week.
You know what? Well, for me personally, I think we might be afraid of the dark because when it's summer, we don't really get much of it. And then for the rest of the year, which is most of the time, we get way too much dark. It's dark all the time here. Like,
yeah, that's
at
true.
4 o'clock, it's just dark and pitch black. It's very strange.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that would be
Yeah,
that would make
here.
one afraid. There's too much of it. Have you gone to the mall lately?
I have actually. I've gone to the mall. We have a big mall here in Edmonton. It's called West Edmonton Mall. Pretty enormous. And yeah, I've gone a couple times. We played Pokemon Go a couple weeks ago. We did community day there. And
Nice.
it was a good time.
There you go.
Very nice. I'm also a mall walker. I love the mall. This is the last one. Which Tim Hortons were you at and donut were you eating during the 84th Grey Cup when grunge was born?
Grunge wasn't born in 84. I was born in
There's a lot of
84.
things wrong with this.
Yeah, grunge was not born in 84. I was born in 84. So this is so funny, just given how things have kind of turned out. It's not necessarily Tim Hortons related, but it is McDonald's related. There's a story when my mom was pregnant with me. She was in the hospital. She was about to give birth. And back then, like, times were different for dads. Like, you weren't there the whole time. So dad went out to McDonald's to go get whatever food or drink or whatever. And he fell asleep in the drive-thru, actually. So
Okay.
I was at the hospital while my dad was at a McDonald's, which is kind of, at least for me, I replaced Tim Hortons with McDonald's. I'm not that stereotypical to think Tim Hortons is the greatest.
Fair enough.
Yeah. McDonald's all the way, man.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
There you go.
How was I supposed to answer that question exactly? What?
I don't know.
I think you
I
nailed it either way.
The actual
I think
question
you more-
itself. What Tim Hortons was I at in 1984 when grunge
Yeah.
was born? Like,
Yeah. We were definitely getting
That's
trolled, I
awesome.
think.
That's
Umar
a good
was just
question.
like, I'm
I
going
like
to throw
it.
the best Canadian questions.
I
So
like
there you
it. Mhm.
go. There you go. Woo. Well, with that, we've run out of questions and we've run out of the will to go on.
This is
Out of a
a
lot of
monster-sized episode.
It's a monster-sized episode indeed. Sean, thank you so much for joining us. It was surely a treat to have you with us. You are a breath of fresh air, and you're now my second favorite Canadian.
I'll take
So,
it. Nice.
yeah.
Second of two. Awesome. Last place for
I
me.
might know a few more,
Okay,
so-
I'll take it.
I'll not say. I'm going to plead the fifth on that. So,
Fair enough.
but you're definitely my top 5. So,
I'll take it.
yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on. Like, I would love to. I'd love to come back. It's sweet to hang out with you guys, especially after some in-person sweet hangs with Pat and Mark just a couple
No
of
doubt.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
My U.S. roaming plan just ran out, actually, which reminds me that it was just a month ago that we were all
Wow.
together, just
Sad day.
eating stuff and drinking stuff and catching Pokemon. And Pat was super into Pokemon Go. It was so awesome just to see him really into it,
Oh,
teaching
yeah.
me all the things about Pokemon with his vast knowledge of this
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I was
Yes.
getting exhausted by how much I was telling you, but so I'm glad.
It's,
I'm glad
most of
you're-
it stuck. Yeah.
Good. Good.
Yeah. I retained
Yep.
most of what you told me about Pokemon Go.
I'm sure. I hope you did because I told you nothing.
It's 0.
Oh, man. All righty then. Pat, Mark, Spirit of Ronnie J, and of course, our guest, Sean
Spirit.
Capri. Yeah, he's still with
I
us.
hope he's okay.
Yeah, he's
Welcome
with
to the
us.
show.
Yep. And along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.